Stick with me here, because we're diving into a story where the most untouchable clan gets completely invaded. They dispatch an elite squad of warriors to the enemy location, but when they arrive, total ghost town. Boom. One guy just drops dead, a needle sticking right out of his neck. The rest of the squad instantly panics, frantically scanning the area for the hidden attacker. One warrior glances up, and yep, it's a literal rain of needles pouring down. A single massive attack wipes out the entire squad in the blink of an eye. The big bosses catch wind of this and rally the whole clan for a counterattack. When they hit the spot, one leader instantly realizes something is super wrong. But honestly, way too late. His entire team is already knocked out cold, not even knowing what hit them. The leader is sweating, wondering what massive rival clan is destroying them so effortlessly. Spoiler alert, it wasn't an army. It was literally just one single kid. The clan leader's brain short-circuits, completely refusing to believe this boy wiped them out solo. But seeing the enemy face to face, he locks in, totally determined to avenge every fallen clan member. He takes a huge breath and just launches himself at the kid with blazing speed. The boy just waits for the punch, blocks it without moving a single muscle, and actually laughs. He straight up asks if that's the absolute best the clan boss can do. Watch closely, because this is where it gets crazy. Eyes closed, the kid decides to unleash a massive, terrifying energy aura shaped exactly like a dragon. The leader absolutely wets his pants and tries to run for his life, but nope, he gets instantly vaporized into straight ashes. Meet Tang Yeon-Myeong. He only turned into this unstoppable monster after spending his 12-year-old days getting treated like a literal punching bag by his own clan's bullies. All this drama started because his mom, the legendary Poison Phoenix, accidentally lured the terrifying demon lord right into the Tang Clan village, sparking a massive attack. The clan actually survived the brutal war, but guess who got blamed for everything? Yep, him. Every single night, Yeon-Myeong limped home covered in fresh bruises. His mom was absolutely heartbroken seeing him suffer for her past mistakes, but the kid was tough. He would happily tank the beatings just to keep her safe, and he had to shoulder this pain entirely alone. Why? Because his dad tragically couldn't handle the pressure and took his own life. So now, he was the absolute last line of defense for his mom. To the next day. The local bullies are back for his daily beatdown. Only this time, a totally unhinged girl brings out some needles, kicking the torture up a notch. She brutally stabs those needles into him, pumping his body full of lethal poison. The agony was off the charts. It literally felt like his insides were on fire. After hours of absolute hell, the bullies finally ditch him. Fighting to stay awake, he refuses to close his eyes, completely terrified he'll never see his mom again. Just as he's about to throw in the towel, a mysterious sword randomly materializes right in front of his face. Super confused, he struggles to his feet. But the exact second his hand grabs the hilt, an absolutely massive shockwave of energy explodes. I know what you're thinking, random power-up. Nope. That sword is from his past life, and grabbing it unlocked all his old memories. Back then, he was a legendary swordsman who spent a century fighting until he hit the absolute maximum peak of sword mastery. Now his blade had returned, restoring all of his god-tier fighting skills instantly. Next morning, his mom is panicking, terrified he'll get jumped again. But he just turns around with a smirk and tells her to relax. Today, things are going to be very different. The local goons are hanging out in their usual spot, waiting to collect their daily bully tax from him. Yeon-Myeong strolls up, radiating pure confidence. When one of the goons steps up to throw a punch, our main character casually grabs him by the face and brutally slams his skull straight into the dirt. The other two are completely stunned, wildly trying to process where this insane strength came from. But instead of running, these fools actually draw a knife and charge right at him. Yeon-Myeong effortlessly catches his wrist. Giving him a deadly stare, he crushes the guy's hand with pure grip strength. And oh boy, he is just getting started. Meanwhile, up in the Elder Council, the old guys are busy discussing the clan leader's upcoming trial. Suddenly, our boy kicks the front door open, casually dragging an unconscious competitor behind him, announcing he's entering the tournament. The elders lose their minds seeing the injured participant. But Yeon-Myeong did his homework, pre-tournament brawls, totally legal in the rulebook. The other two bullies, left outside in the courtyard, basically napping with their eyes wide open. He claims he's just honoring the Tang family motto, repay kindness twice, but repay grudges 10 times over. The furious elders instantly demand his execution, screaming that he committed a massive crime, but one elder steps up and actually approves his entry on one brutal condition. If he loses the tournament, he pays with his life. Back home, his mom is stressed out of her mind over how dangerous this tournament is. But Yeon-Myeong just grins proudly, declaring he's the son of the Poison Phoenix. Hearing that makes her completely break down in tears. She hugs him super tight, realizing her little boy grew up way too fast. Anyone foolish enough to block his path, totally getting eliminated. Fast forward a month. The tournament day is finally here, and our main character is perfectly prepped to dominate. Inside the hall, everyone starts trash-talking him, so he chucks a steamed bun so incredibly hard it knocks a hater out cold. And trust me, you're gonna want to see what happens next. Alright, stick with me here. Everyone rushed him, but when the teacher showed up, the whole class was knocked out while our guy just chilled eating. Meanwhile, over in the elders' hall, the big bosses decided to completely rewrite the test format. The chiefs gathered the trainees to break the news. No more basic exams. This year, it was all about one-on-one duels. Oh wait, scratch that. After that massive cafeteria brawl, they upgraded it to a battle royale, a total free-for-all. The last kid standing walks away as the brand new Tang Clan leader. Cut to Sichuan, deep inside Black Death Alliance turf. A super shady meeting kicks off in the Dark Moon Sword Sect main hall. The boss starts off quick. Everyone has stuff to do, so he cuts to the chase. The target is the Tang family. One guy asks if this is about the upcoming leader tournament. Another dude scoffs. The Tang Clan is so weak right now, their boss could crush them easily. They only exist because they still have some minor use. Still, those kids are the absolute future of the Tang Clan. Wiping them out now would be a massive, completely devastating hit. Someone else in the room grins, really liking this plan, but another warns them, even weakened, the Tang Clan is incredibly dangerous. A direct attack is reckless. Watch closely here, this gets devious. Just attacking the carriages to pick off rookies right now is not enough. The young leader contest lasts 4 whole years. If all those elite, fully trained kids drop dead at the very end, that ruins the clan forever. A woman speaks up asking if they are pulling the same dirty tricks used on the Jegal and Myeong families. The Dark Moon leader nods. For now, they will just stay quiet and track the trainee carriages. Tracking is already active. Plus, they planted a little trap. If it works perfectly, the entire Tang family falls right into their evil hands. Over at the competition mountain, all the kids obediently follow their assigned guide. Well, except our guy who hangs back. They are told that from here on out, names are gone, numbers only. Teams of 4, and he lands in Group 7. They call out the roster hit number 28 and suddenly realize someone is missing. They yell for number 28 again, glaring at our boy, asking why he is lagging behind. He casually apologizes, saying he zoned out. But the guide is zero fun and snaps to stop wasting time. The real reason, he sensed someone hiding nearby. And since their own escort missed it entirely, he knew this was no average Tang guard. They were definitely being tailed. Hitting a cliff, they ask if this is it. A booming voice demands the password for Group 7. Instantly, one kid yells out, "Hidden Poison King." The voice accepts it instantly. That actually leaves the other 3 totally stunned. I know what you are thinking, right? A man steps out, introducing himself as Jegal Changshan. He explains the Tang clan once ruled formations before the Demon Lord hit. The Jegal clan only survived thanks to Tang backup. So to repay that debt, they are blocking outsiders from messing with this exam. He confirms the Jegal family is handling all the formation support. The kids are blown away, knowing those high-level techniques literally bend space. Meanwhile, the violet-haired girl notices Tang Yeon-Myeong acting weird. He is suddenly ignoring absolutely everything around him. She flashbacks to the carriage ride. He had that exact same bored energy when they learned they were stuck together for 3 years. Zero interest in his own squad. When it was his turn, he refused to even drop his name until they basically forced him. The pink-haired girl with glasses jumped in as Tang Yuri, immediately bringing up that crazy cafeteria brawl. Then the super cheerful kid introduces himself as Tang Aijin, giving everyone a huge friendly welcome. The carriage rolls on. Tang Yuri assumes he is just acting tough because his great-grandfather is a top elder, ensuring his safety for the next 4 years. Yeon-Myeong just cuts her off cold, telling her to stop dropping subtle hints. She blaming him. She claims the rule change was shocking, but she is not pointing any fingers. Tang Aijin steps in to chill the vibe, reminding everyone they are teammates, but the tension stays high. Watching him closely, Yeon-Myeong immediately recognizes the classic look of a spoiled childhood troublemaker. He tunes out their bickering. Nobody survived to this point easily, but he swears if this kid causes real trouble, he is stepping in. Suddenly, boom. The carriage halts. Jegal is completely gone. He was literally right there a second ago, and now, just thin air. Panic sets in. Mirio starts freaking out that they are trapped in a deadly maze. So what do you and I make of this? Yeon-Myeong knows nobody is coming to save them, while the others just absolutely panic. They are locked inside the phantom capsule formation, and escape is literally impossible without anchors. Alright, stick with me. Jegal thought the Tang elders were totally cheap, but double family support for dumping number 28, way too good to pass up. Plus, if this test got rigged, only the Tangs would take the hit. The Jegal clan literally couldn't lose. But then a weird noise echoed. The trap formation ripped wide open just like a curtain. Changshan started totally freaking out. Yeon-Myeong just yelled, demanding to know his master plan after ditching them. Sweating bullets, Jegal bluffed. He claimed they just stepped wrong because they were total newbies, blaming their sloppy footwork. Still, he glared at the kid. This trap was supposed to be flawless. Zero weaknesses anywhere. The others ran over mind-blown, asking how he sliced right through it. Mirio snapped that they lacked time for questions. Finding their shady instructor again was pure luck. She ordered everyone to follow him closely and stop messing things up. And then, poof, he vanished again. Now they got it. Jeagle was literally running away inside his own trap because this kid wasn't easily fooled. A 12-year-old with this much aura, absolutely terrifying. Up ahead, Jeagle spotted a bright light. Thinking it was the exit, he sprinted like crazy, hoping to finally ditch these annoying kids. Reaching the safe zone, he finally exhaled. There was no way they could track him here. Then someone called out his name. Busted. It was Tang Yeon-Myeong, Group 7's actual supervisor. He stared down casually, asking why Jeagle was taking a dirt nap. Panicking, Jeagle faked concern. Where on earth were his students and what went wrong? Stay calm, he told himself. He totally prepared for this. He smoothly lied, saying Group 7 wasn't coming. He claimed he waited forever, but they never showed. Maybe bandits got them, or wild beasts. Tragedies happen. Now watch closely, because here's where his plan blows up. Before he even finished, the barrier started shattering again. The supervisor definitely noticed that. Jeagle was too scared to look. Taking total shock, he begged Wonjin for a second to check the damage. But his trap was fully crumbling. Nowhere left to run. How could the Jeagle clan's ultimate move, the 7-locked Ghost Dome, get destroyed by Yeon-Myeong using a basic short blade? Insane. Oh boy, Jeagle needed a massive excuse now. Out stepped Yeon-Myeong, smiling, weirdly greeting him like they were just casually hanging out. Everyone was speechless. Busting a master formation with a tiny knife, basically impossible. The shrug, he clarified he didn't smash it, just sliced a little hole. The supervisor asked if they were Group 7. They nodded quickly, asking who he was after spotting that famous Tang crest. He admitted he was stressing out after Jeagle mentioned monster attacks. Staring right at the guilty instructor, he said they merely got lost. Thank goodness they marked the path inside the trap, so returning was a breeze. Smart move, he didn't snitch on Jeagle just yet. Since the guy worked for Tang leadership, he'd file it under heavy suspicion for now. You and I both know the stakes here. If his dirty deal with the elders leaks later, the entire Jeagle clan gets erased. Sweating profusely, Jeagle apologized for his huge blunder and offered to fix the broken trap. The supervisor brushed it off as a mix-up, warmly welcoming the kids after their insanely chaotic start. He finally introduced himself as Tang Yeon-Myeong from the Bongwi Brigade, the boss officially running their hellish competition training. Tang Yeon-Myeong completely froze up. Rumor said that brigade was wiped out years ago, but the Bongwi Brigade used to be an absolute powerhouse, the Tang family's most terrifying elite squad. Yeon-Myeong also knew the old boss was Yeon-Myeong's mom, the Poison Phoenix. So Yeon-Myeong flat out asked why this guy stayed around. Wonjin calmly explained that years ago they went to war to protect the Poison Phoenix. They clashed with the Celestial Glow Demon Lord and got completely crushed. Losing meant they became outcasts. Ending story time right there, he ordered them to listen up. Year 1 was purely solo training. They'd train alone and receive secret manuals. Tang Yuri immediately asked about the lost 10,000 Celestial Flower Rains art. Wonjin dropped a bomb. That ultimate skill was for clan leaders only, and even then it was totally incomplete. Yeon-Myeong realized it was a hidden weapon technique that rained down like a hurricane. Sounded suspiciously like flying sword control. Maybe he could actually copy some of it. Wonjin added that the elders would slowly drip-feed them the core of the 10,000 Celestial Flower Rains, assuming they survived. Starting now, their lives meant non-stop, grinding alone or together. Then Yuri asked the most obvious question, where do they sleep? Out in the dirt. Did she honestly expect a plush bed for hardcore training? So what do you and I take from this? Comfort makes you weak. Time to survive. Alright, stick with me here. The supervisor said to train however they wanted, and Yeon-Myeong basically said a nice bed beats sleeping in the woods. The supervisor wasn't thrilled with that answer, but since this kid literally broke the barrier earlier, he decided to test him out. His teammates were furious. They knew his cocky attitude would drag them down. Wenjin laid out the rules. Pass and you get the mansion inside the formation. Fail and you're sleeping in the dirt. This test was specifically for participant 28. The team scattered, readying spears and hidden weapons. His goal, dodge or block everything within 5 steps, completely blindfolded. Once his eyes were covered, the squad took up their positions all around him. Mirio thought this was basically impossible. Not a single person was moving. He figured they were building the tension. Then, boom, everyone attacked from all angles to ruin his focus. But he just counted the blades whizzing by. 147 seemed like a bit much. He drew his sword and effortlessly slipped right through. This wasn't just raw talent. His timing, balance, and speed were completely broken. The crowd was stunned. The supervisor quickly realized something crazy. He wasn't just deflecting weapons, he was pulling them in. You've got to see this part. He stopped it all, pulled down the blindfold, and just asked if he passed. The supervisor watched his flawless weapon handling and stood there absolutely speechless. Even after someone called his name, it took him a second to snap back. Then he announced the results were final. He declared the boy had passed and could claim the mansion. Honestly, he felt like he was looking at a total monster. Some accepted the reward, but others whined that one guy enjoying comfort was totally unfair. Yeon-Myeong obviously didn't care. He just flashed a massive grin and laughed out loud, jokingly hoped the mansion had an endless buffet. His teammates, yeah, they hated hearing that. Still, the supervisor liked their competitive fire. He was seriously wondering if this kid was the chosen one. Yeon-Myeong bragged that passing meant getting meat with absolutely every meal. Meanwhile, deep inside the dark forest, a pack of wolves were eating their fresh kill. But that prey was poisoned, and strange side effects kicked in. One by one, the wolves just completely collapsed. Suddenly, the 3 kids surviving out there rushed them, who were totally amazed by Ejin and her poison skills. Dinner was finally served. Tang Yuri was straight up drooling over the meat while the others kept chatting. It had been 4 brutal months since arriving. They had been fighting just to stay alive, and the very first beast they met was a bear. Hunting was usually a disaster, so they ate roots. When they finally got this catch, they practically cried tears of joy. It was pure suffering, but they eventually built a shelter. They figured Yeon-Myeong was chilling somewhere on easy mode. Mirio hated even hearing his name, though. Ejin was pretty curious. Mirio assumed he was wandering all alone. I know what you're thinking. They'll meet at the mansion and make him pay. But Ejin admitted that if he kept training, he'd be way too strong. Then Mirio suddenly realized a huge problem. The meat was completely gone. They snapped their heads and glared at Tang Yuri. She was groaning on the floor after eating it all and rudely told them to move aside. They were blocking her perfect starlight. Meanwhile, over in the Gangyang Mountains at the Seven Blades training camp, Yeon-Myeong was pulling an all-nighter. He took breaks but went absolutely hardcore. He used the real warriors as his personal sparring partners, pushing his limits. Using the insane skills from his past life, these armed fighters were helpless. They couldn't predict him or block his hits. Eventually, he decided to test out a brand new technique. Armed with ring-shaped shurikens, he knew it would be perfect. The seasoned warriors braced themselves for his next strike, but they totally lost track of him and his flying weapons. His firing pattern looked completely random, yet he sniped every single one of them perfectly. By the time they recognized the shurikens, it was game over. They spun insanely fast, turning invisible as he unleashed his ultimate move, the frenzied spinning dance. The supervisor was completely floored that elite fighters got wiped out so fast. Plus, his control was so godlike that the blades only grazed their skin. He asked if Yeon-Myeong created this himself, and the kid nodded. Holding up a shuriken, he explained that dodging this trap was basically impossible. Impressed, the supervisor asked for the technique's name. Yeon-Myeong proudly called it the frenzied spinning dance. But then he dropped another question. Did it drain his internal energy, and how was he coping? He asked this because the kid recently requested a manual for eye techniques, and that's where we leave it. They offered him sky-piercing or flowing current, but Yeon-Myeong casually revealed he had already mastered flowing current, leaving the boss totally speechless. Alright, stick with me here. The supervisor is completely speechless. How on earth did Yeon-Myeong learn the Tang family's oldest eye art? The kid just shrugged. Even without the full essence, he realized it was a top-tier martial art. By using flowing current eyes to read weapon paths, his aim became absolutely perfect. At this point, the supervisor realized literally nothing this kid did would surprise him anymore. He warned him that in 2 months, his entire team would show up for the exact same test. They had the raw talent, and next time they would be fully prepared to win. Yeon-Myeong just smiled at that. He was actually super pumped to see his friend's progress. The supervisor caught that warm look immediately. Sure, the others were totally using Yeon-Myeong as fuel for their intense training, but the kid did not care at all. Looking up at the clear sky, he started thinking about destiny. In his past life, his only real family was his master, the Sword Phantom. But now, brand new bonds were tying him to people from all over the place. Maybe this is exactly what a normal happy life feels like. Honestly, he could not wait to see them again. Back on day 1, they were just total rookies. Now, they had leveled up like crazy. Just thinking about his face got them insanely hyped. Seriously, they were casually planning to crack his skull open, and their glowing eyes, yeah, they were definitely not joking. Their trainer just watched them practically foam at the mouth. Even the instructor had zero clue why they were so fiercely motivated. Back at the mansion, the squad was screaming his name, guessing he had chickened out. Which sucked because they really wanted to bash his face in themselves. Mirio suddenly realized Tang Yeon had gone completely silent. She spun around to see what was wrong. Watch closely now. She turns around and sees Yeon-Myeong casually choking out Ijin, who is just dangling there, totally limp. Laughing out loud, he said he was hiding for a jump scare. Their cute little revenge plot hilarious. Still holding Ijin like they were best bros, he asked them to repeat those adorable threats. Then he stared at the rest of the gang, wondering why they were frozen. Weren't they just bragging about crushing his skull with their 6 months of hardcore training? He playfully asked if he should attack first. Everyone instantly scrambled back. Hey, it was just a prank. The scariest part, not a single one of them sensed his approach. Living in the wild leveled them up, but he was still a ghost. Now he had both Ijin and Yuri trapped in a headlock. Mirio just stood there stunned by his massive power gap and whatever hellish training he survived. He had definitely hit a growth spurt, looking incredibly handsome. Snapping out of it, her face burned bright red. She blamed the forest isolation. Yeon-Myeong kindly told her not to panic. Even she had gotten ridiculously strong. She just felt weak because she was standing next to a literal monster. Yeah, some things never change. Meanwhile, a secret villain meeting was kicking off. If that was really Jong-gu, half a year passed and he was still a ghost. He interrupted the chatter and demanded they get straight to business. Rising stars in the new batch, participant number 2 was brought up immediately. His leveling speed was absolutely off the charts. It was not just basic survival instinct. This kid was running on pure, unfiltered hatred for someone. Another elder chimed in. They could not ignore number 10 who cleared the warrior exam in 30 days. Sure, 2 and 10 were definitely prodigies. But compared to number 28, those two looked completely average. You and I both know this guy is insane. His wild escape and brutal training were absolute nightmare material. He casually tossed around master-level skills, but messing with him right now was a death wish. He definitely already knew they were watching him. They turned to Jegal, who looked pretty stressed. When asked why, he forced a fake smile, claiming his group was boring, desperately trying to change the subject. Still, they desperately needed a puppet they could easily control. He pitched the idea to recruit number 2 and marry him to his niece. The kid hid his scarred face, so seducing an outcast like that would be incredibly easy. By carrying him to victory as the Tang clan's new young leader and locking down that marriage, Jegal would slide right into the Tang family's outer circle. That alone would give them total freedom to manipulate Tang affairs. It would boost the Tang family's power while perfectly protecting their own shady interests. Their ultimate endgame, merging both families together. That is why they were funding this massive clan tournament. They finally wrapped up the meeting. As for number 28, he was way too overpowered to just throw away. If he actually survived the finals, they would try weaponizing his thirst for revenge. They even thought about adopting him to lead the Jegal clan. Meanwhile, the intense training continued. Their deadly accuracy kept skyrocketing. So what do we take from this? The mansion pushed them to the absolute limit, but honestly, double the torture is totally worth a good night of sleep, right? Stick with me here. You and I are watching Aijin get totally dragged into the poison lab. Miso actually respected the guy when she heard he was plotting revenge. He was their top poison maker after all. Inside the lab, Aijin brags he poured his literal soul into this toxic brew. He claims it is absolutely lethal. So his jaw drops when Yeon-Myeong grabs the bowl and downs it all in one gulp. Aijin totally panics, thinking the guy lost his mind. Someone grabs him, screaming to spit it out, but Yeon-Myeong just stands there, cheeks puffed out like a chipmunk, calmly watching Aijin freak out while wondering if it is working yet. And splat, he blasts it right into Aijin's face, casually asking why the dude is shaking him so hard. A few seconds pass. Zero effect. He smirks, asking if this so-called deadly poison is actually supposed to be this completely pathetic. Terrified, Aijin snaps back that the stuff is literally potent enough to melt internal organs. But he can only stare at the kid, standing perfectly fine, grinning and suggesting that maybe Aijin is just a totally mediocre poison maker. Hearing all the screaming from the lab, the girls realize something has gone terribly wrong. Tang Aijin is furious and stunned. Yeon-Myeong is chugging toxic sludge like it is cheap juice. Emptying the bowl, he shows it off. 0 damage. He casually asks if they have anything packing a harder punch. Now watch closely, because this is where everything gets wild. It is not just simple poison immunity. This is the Tang family core art, the absolute madness of extreme poison refinement. The Tang clan are legendary masters. For a trained expert like him, getting poisoned normally is impossible. Instead, the toxin entering his body literally converts straight into raw internal energy. That is a god-tier level reached only through absolute mastery. Weak poison barely gives him a buff, so he constantly craves the stronger stuff. He still has a massive checklist to clear before he can live peacefully. He could easily crush the Elders right now. But if the Black Death Alliance or the Celestial Radiance Demon Lord attacks, winning is not guaranteed. No personal grudge against the Black Death Alliance, sure. But their total control over Sichuan cannot be ignored. Their leader is a once-in-a-generation freak of nature, who already wiped out 3 major factions. With his old power, stomping that guy would be a joke. But he is not there yet. So to keep surviving, he needs Aijin to brew something way more insane than what he just drank. His train of thought halts. Aijin brags he can brew the Tang family 10 poisons instantly, grabbing his total attention. Aijin snaps that despite having the clan leader bloodline, Yeon-Myeong does not know a single thing about these 10 poisons. Ranked 1 to 10, the final one is broken enough to literally melt down transcendent tier martial masters. That is why the Elders keep the formulas locked down. Way too dangerous for casual use. You and I both know his thought now. That is a poison completely worth having. He presses Aijin on how to craft the 10th poison, but Aijin insists nobody can just randomly make it. Licking his tongue, Yeon-Myeong calls it a massive letdown, complaining that the garbage poisons here barely act as an appetizer. Super annoyed, Aijin fires back that the stuff is incredibly deadly, and basically banned anyway. Meanwhile, a furious guy grabs Yeon-Myeong by the throat, screaming about what she did to him. Suddenly, he hacks up blood, clearly hit by something extremely toxic. Staring down, she coldly orders him to repeat what he said about her face. Then the reaction hits overdrive. His entire body burns from the inside out, looking like he might literally explode before breaking down. The toxin finishes the job. He collapses, crumbling straight into ash. She looks incredibly pleased. Stuff her grandfather gave her, one of the legendary 10 poisons. Touching her scarred face, she smiles darkly. She remembers the agonizing pain of that day. Fueling her rage, she plans to make Yeon-Myeong suffer in this deadly game. Flash forward half a year. A full 12 months since he started leveling up his weak points, but the actual nightmare test is just beginning. Next up, a sudden announcement demanding each squad pick a leader, totally catching the girls off guard. The main supervisor announces it is finally time to select a temporary commander. The first 3 years, each squad picks a rep to fight for them in an absolute life or death match. The absolute strongest takes the crown. But not everyone enters the goo poison arena. Selection is totally based on pure results. For Team 7, it is a no-brainer. Number 28, Tang Yeon-Myeong. He is instantly crowned boss. Trust me, you and I are going to love watching him dominate as a top contender. Stick with me here because things in this clan are about to get hilarious. The supervisor announced the temporary roles and called number 28 up. He popped open a fancy box, revealing the ultimate prize. The legendary Tang family elixir, the Celestial Heart Pill. Crafted from 100-year-old ginseng, this crazy pill was basically a massive cheat code for internal energy. His 3 teammates instantly lost their minds. Why was Yeongyang getting something so incredibly valuable? The supervisor shrugged. Just a basic perk for being the temporary leader of the Tang clan. Sure, the boss had huge expectations for Tang Yeongyang, but our guy literally asked for something else, and when denied, he flat out rejected the pill. A health boost, boring. He was gunning for something way different. The supervisor was completely stunned. Who rejects free power? Well, Yeongyang didn't even miss a single beat. He demanded their strongest, deadliest poison, preferably one of the legendary 10. Later, when he walked back, his team eagerly expected the pill but saw weapons. He casually explained his completely insane request for the top-tier poison. Denied, obviously. So he grabbed weapons instead. Tang Yeon-Myeong instantly charged at him, fully ready to deck him in the face. She was furious. He left the elixir behind while the others awkwardly tried to defend his weird choice. Aijin smugly joked that the elders saved a pill today, but Yeongyang cut him right off. He actually never gave it back. Flashback to the storehouse. The supervisor handed over his alternate request, asking if these weapons were actually good enough. Yeongyang sighed. It sucked missing out on the absolute deadliest poison, but he would settle for this gear anyway. The supervisor was baffled. Literally everyone else jumps at the magic elixir. Yeongyang asked where the pill goes next. Back to the Hall of the Medicine King, apparently. But nope, he still refused it. Watch closely, he just pitched a seriously hilarious idea. If his squad could actually beat him in a fight, they get the pill as a reward. The supervisor absolutely loved that bet. It was the perfect motivation and a solid investment for the Tang clan. The rule was set. Challenge him anytime. The deadline right before the goo poison match. The girls instantly stepped up, ready to fight. Yeongyang was showing zero mercy. Plus he figured once he became the clan leader, he would just hand out pills anyway. Through the endless training montage. Seasons changed, and they fought him non-stop. Poor Aijin lost every single time but kept coming back. Yeongyang brutally joked the guy was on a 173 loss streak. Mirio noticed he never even broke a sweat. Meanwhile, Tang Yuri straight up quit fighting and just showed up to admire Yeongyang. Honestly, her teammate totally agreed. It was pure entertainment at this point. Catching another easy win, he smirked and asked if Aijin surrendered, especially since that clan leader title was practically in the bag. He ignored the competition. In his mind, there was literally no way he could lose. Someone joked he would ditch them once promoted. The supervisor just smiled, realizing this whole team had leveled up insanely fast. He then dropped the reality check. As leader Yeongyang was entering the brutal goo poison match tomorrow, it was time to make his absolute final preparations. It had been 3 wild years of training. Meanwhile, other teams were getting completely disqualified or worse, killed. But our squad, they survived and thrived. Their power growth actually rivaled the legendary Banhui Brigade, earning them some major bragging rights. The supervisor sighed, saying he had explained the goo poison match 100 times, but he would review it. Until now, poison training was strictly banned. But in this match, the most extreme deadly poisons were totally legal. You and I know what that means. Pure chaos, brutal tactics, and absolute survival of the fittest. Finally, he got that specific poison. Aijin nervously warned him that a single tiny drop meant instant death, making sure he got the picture. Super worried, Aijin made him promise to win, all while taking one last joke swing at his face. Yongyang caught the fist, practically headbutting it. Rocking a fresh bruise, he promised he would survive. He smirked, adding that until this crazy tournament ended, only his team was allowed to punch him. With his squad watching, he walked right through the dark passage, heading straight into the deadly arena. Meanwhile, someone else was celebrating. Yongrong gripped a poison vial, bragging that her 10 poisons just scored her a very powerful new ally. She flashed back to the moment a magical formation opened up, letting the shady Jjigae clan negotiate with her. She demanded to know exactly how they could help. They promised to hack the arena formation for her advantage. So where does this leave us? Trust me, it is about to get wild. Alright, let's dive right in. She knew his help wasn't free, so she demanded his terms. Jjigae confessed his clan was literally crumbling. To revive their former glory, he wanted an alliance with the Tang Clan. But yeah, she saw right through his absolute garbage. They just wanted to use her as a literal puppet to control Tang business. Jjigae blatantly admitted that was his whole plan. He offered fake friendship. But she had suffered through 3 brutal years just for this exact moment. She was going to end him and snatch back the life he stole. Now, leading Team 1, she was itching for their little reunion. Over on Team 2, Tang Jinzhou was running the show. Smacking down a rival, he totally mocked the Tang Clan militia. To this guy, they were literally just barking dogs with 0 bite. Team 3 was led by Tang Gukran. Tang Heron took Team 4, Tang Gijil headed Team 5, and Tang Myeongso commanded Team 6. Finally, Team 7 was led by Tang Yeon-Myeong. He smiled, thinking it was a gorgeous day for victory. The goo poison match marked the start of the real bloodshed. He had spent 3 solid years playing the background character, and now he finally stepped onto the main stage. Scanning the massive arena, he knew tracking his targets would take a minute. Watch closely here. What he didn't know, Jjigae was already creeping on him, waiting for his squad to get picked. Jjigae glared, thinking this kid's talent was a total waste. But the clan's orders were absolute. He had to assassinate him quickly before he turned into a massive headache. Then Yeon-Myeong suddenly snapped his gaze toward Jjigae. Jjigae swore they made eye contact. But that was literally impossible through all those defensive formations, right? Suddenly, the sharp ring of a blade echoed. Bam! Yeon-Myeong's short sword completely shattered the barrier. Shaking off that super creepy stare, he immediately suspected the Jjigae clan's dirty work. He remembered the ref's strict warning. Absolutely nobody except the actual fighters was allowed to crash this goo poison match. But rumor had it that clan was cheating since day 1. So naturally, those cowards would probably pull some shady stunt here too. Whatever garbage they were plotting, he'd handle it later. After surviving this poison deathmatch, he'd literally beat the truth out of them. Meanwhile, somewhere else, a guy was totally hyperventilating, even hiding behind thick magical walls. If they hadn't severed the vision link immediately, that one slash would have permanently blinded them. He had casually sliced straight through the barrier's core. The spy had never seen sword skills that insane. They had messed up big time. There was 0 chance he could fight that monster. If Yeon-Myeong figured out their assassination plot, absolute payback was guaranteed. Cut to a heavily injured girl stumbling through the woods, groaning in pain. She sobbed, totally clueless about how she ended up in this nightmare. She really didn't want to die today. Her only goal was scoring well, getting a clan job, and finally helping out her struggling parents. That was the whole reason she signed up. She never cared about being the young leader. Her master plan was literally just surrendering early. You and I both know tournaments always have that one crazy guy. He showed up smiling, then brutally attacked everyone at the exact same time. After that, crying surrender did nothing. His only goal was a total massacre. At this point, running into literally anyone else felt safer. Hopefully the other team leaders were breathing so she could just forfeit immediately. She was totally ready to tap out. But then she realized the pure horror if that psycho actually became the next clan leader. Muttering to herself, a chill ran down her spine. The absolute menace who crushed everyone stepped out, smirking, mocking her for having way too much ego. He casually noted her footwork was fast, but basically useless, since her internal energy was just pathetically garbage. Flexing the stolen tokens, he bluntly told her she was just like the other trash. Panicking, she screamed, begging to know why he was acting like a monster. They were family, right? Spoiler alert, he did not care at all. He never considered himself a true Tang family member anyway. And while she stood there frozen in pure terror, he ended her without hesitating. Meanwhile, our boy Yeon-Myeong was casually hiking, looking for a safe zone. He stumbled on an empty cave that looked totally abandoned. Inside, his radar picked up 0 threats. Perfect. He needed to speedrun his way to the transcendent level right now. He sat down and focused. His physical stats had finally caught up, so leveling up shouldn't trigger any nasty recoil. Hitting that tier required 2 specific things: pure enlightenment, and enough raw energy to blast open his poison meridians. Being reincarnated meant he already had the mental hacks. Plus, that custom poison pill he cooked up gave his mana pool a massive boost. All the checkboxes were ticked. He started smashing the seals on his meridians, letting loose all that toxic energy he had been hoarding. Boom, that internal energy exploded like a massive bomb. Usually, this level-up process is pure torture. Bones snapping and healing on repeat, basically forging an entirely new human body. But since he already suffered through it in his past life, round 2 was super easy. As he cultivated, the whole cave literally started glowing. Thank God he kept doing his daily meridian cleanses. If any trash was left over during this power-up, he would smell absolutely terrible during fights. Not a bad upgrade. Trust me, you and I definitely want to see him test this outside. Alright, you and I are jumping back in. Staying perfectly healthy was absolutely crucial. Not much changed visually, but his power way more efficient. He smashed a massive rock just to test it out. His internal energy was flowing smoother than ever before. Time to get moving. Meanwhile, Tang Gukren was chilling on a tree branch, staring down at his latest prey. He mocked the guy. Why train so hard just to stay pathetic? The beaten man simply cursed his terrible luck. Out of everyone in the forest, he bumped into this absolute monster. An orphan raised as the Grand Elder's own grandson, he was the top favorite student. And yeah, easily as overpowered as the crazy rumors claimed, the guy actually attacked first, thinking he stood a chance. He couldn't even graze Gukren's clothes before getting dropped. Looking up at him, he knew he was completely dead. But one thing still bugged him. Why was Gukren currently hunting down Tang Yeon-Myeong of all people? Honestly, just avoiding Yeon-Myeong made this beaten guy feel relieved. Catching his weird smile, Gukren asked what the joke was. Hiding a secret weapon, the guy shook his head. He was just thinking about a guy way more terrifying than Gukren. Gukren took that super personally. He threatened to show his truly scary side, then asked if he wanted to hear a juicy secret. He casually dropped a massive bomb. He was actually a Black Death Alliance spy. Now, pay close attention here. Admitting a massive secret out loud meant only one thing. Gukren absolutely had to silence him forever. Gukren smirked, figuring the guy was basically dead already. He might as well learn his real name before dying. He belonged to the Great Silent Black Sword Clan. Moving for the kill, he stopped when the bleeding guy's eyes snapped wide. The killer suddenly realized his body was completely frozen. Tang Yeon-Myeong casually walked in. He sensed something sketchy and found a familiar face. Looking down at the beaten guy, he asked if Jianzhao had finally healed up since their last big beatdown. The young guy just stared in total confusion. Who the heck was this? Years ago, this enemy spy had infiltrated right into the Tang clan. Playing the tragic orphan to get adopted, he climbed the ranks and secretly assassinated rival candidates. His goal, destroying the clan from the inside. Pulling this off meant total glory back home. But instead, here he was eating dirt, feeling like his internal organs were literally melting. Yeon-Myeong glanced at Jianzhao, wondering if this spy was the one who messed him up so badly. Jianzhao gasped, asking if that was really Tang Yeon-Myeong. Yeon-Myeong grinned, offering to smash his face into the dirt again for proof, but Jianzhao said it wasn't necessary. He knew exactly who he was dealing with. Coughing up blood, the guy asked if Gukren really confessed to being a spy. Yeon-Myeong nodded. Yeah, Black Sword Sect trash. Hearing those words, Yeon-Myeong thought about the weird aura he sensed earlier. Step 1. Bagging this guy alive. Using a quick hand sign, he yanked out the hidden needle Gukren threw earlier. Jianzhao was absolutely floored. You and I both saw that right. What kind of insane poison causes a full-body meltdown from one tiny needle? Yeon-Myeong completely ignored the panic. He just casually asked if anyone else was around. Jianzhao nodded. Jianzhao suggested curing the poisoned guy first. But Yeon-Myeong did not care. He didn't need any answers from Gukren anyway. If this guy was truly Black Death Alliance scum, his evil motives were already painfully obvious to everyone. Just hearing him talk, Jianzhao realized Yeon-Myeong was basically a new person. He panicked over their old grudge, but Yeon-Myeong honestly couldn't care less. But before they could settle things, the bleeding guy on the ground started violently twitching, trying to stand. Jianzhao bowed deeply, offering a totally genuine apology for their past fights. Yeon-Myeong just waved it off. He was completely over the past drama. Jianzhao knew an apology wouldn't magically fix things, but he had to say it. Yeon-Myeong sighed, telling him to chill out. Suddenly, Jianzhao's eyes blew wide open. Terrified, he screamed a warning at Yeon-Myeong. But our guy had already sensed the murderous intent creeping up. The dying spy decided on a suicide attack. If he was going down, he was dragging them into hell with him. He lunged wildly, screaming that he'd secure at least one kill. Jianzhao screamed, fully believing Yeon-Myeong got hit. The attacker smiled, thinking he landed it. Then reality hit. It was an afterimage. He tracked the aura, but totally missed the actual body. Yeon-Myeong casually mentioned that normal people spare dying men. But if he kept swinging, he was going to erase him from existence. Tapping his shoulder, he noted that dragging a dead body out of here was just annoying. Just one light tap instantly knocked him out cold. Now only 3 people were left in the forest. This spy was literally a top-tier tournament contender. Was that crazy technique actually the legendary poison art of the Great Darkness Silent Sword? Could Yeon-Myeong really spam that twin sword technique so quickly? Jianzhao froze, realizing they were alone. Trust me, you're going to want to see what happens next. Stick with me here. This guy practically begged to forfeit right on the spot. Just one tiny problem. He had absolutely zero clue how to leave. Yeon-Myeong opened an exit. Just leave, no goodbyes. Realizing Yeon-Myeong could literally manipulate formations, Jianzhao bowed and thanked him for sparing his pathetic life. Yeon-Myeong watched him run off, even wishing him luck. Over at the Black Moon Sword Sect, a glowing spiritual orb tracked exactly who was breathing and who was dead. The youngest son had an implant. Now, it showed flatline. He was the sect leader's illegitimate kid with a servant, but honestly his raw talent totally crushed all his siblings. When the main wife found out, panic set in. Afraid he would replace her precious heir, she tried assassinating him over 12 different times, so they exiled him as a spy in the Tang clan. Now his father finally felt the sting of regret for failing him. Time for pure payback. He commanded every single disciple to gear up and march straight toward Mount Gangao. Long-awaited moment to absolutely crush the Tang clan had arrived. He immediately ordered them to call in the other sects. From today onward, anyone named Tang dies on that mountain. But honestly, the whole situation felt incredibly weird. Moving non-stop, they found literally nothing. No enemies. Not even a tiny drop of spiritual energy. If the formation shifted to block them, survivors should have rallied with the Jigo clan. He already knew their sneaky plan, slowly growing their own power right under the Tang clan's nose. Now pay attention here, those predictable greedy plans. They were about to cost them everything. Still, Jigo could not shake this creepy feeling. Someone was watching. Meanwhile, Yeon-Myeong just chilled in the grass, staring at the sky. He wished he could send a message to his mom, wondering if she was okay. Soon enough, he just passed right out. Yeon-Myeong sneaked up, totally thirsty for revenge. But wait, the guy sleeping there looked like a complete stranger. She wanted to catch the last survivor, Tang Yeon-Myeong, completely off guard. But this dude looked absolutely nothing like Tang Gukran. Stepping closer, she realized something else. He was actually super handsome. Staring a bit longer, she figured he might be Chang Shin's nephew from the Jigo clan. The guy totally fit the vibe. Popping something into her mouth, she thought it was a tragedy to ruin such a pretty face. No choice though. She instantly unleashed one of her absolute deadliest poisons. Seeing him knocked out, she whispered that he was way too careless. This brutal contest only ends when one person is left standing, but without even blinking open an eye, he muttered she was not ready. Boom, his hand snapped right onto her neck. Standing up, he forced her straight to her knees, demanding if the Jigo clan sent her. You and I both saw this coming, right, hiding somewhere safe, just waiting to jump the final weakened survivor. Classic coward move. Squeezing her throat, he growled for the truth about their deal. She was absolutely mind-blown that he had sensed her approach. With a freezing gaze, he told her to spit it out or die. Hide nothing. He literally asked if she still wanted to breathe. Panicking, she realized her fear made her fumble the poison. But as he gripped her tight, he suddenly felt like he actually knew her from somewhere before. He suddenly asked if she was Tang Yeon-Myeong. After pulling all these insane stunts, she literally had not changed one single bit. Should he just crush her entire face this time? Meanwhile, Jigo watched from the shadows, sweating as his master plan started unraveling. Number 28 broke the formation and ruined his vision, even though he rigged it so everyone except number 2 would get totally wiped out. Things were perfect. That is until number 10 went absolute beast mode on everyone. Then number 28 crashed the party, flipping the script. Number 2 and 10 were so evenly matched, their fight could have been a complete coin toss. But seeing number 10 absolutely speed-run the others, Jigo seriously doubted number 2 stood a chance against 28. If number 28 took the win, his entire master plan would shatter into pieces. The guy was totally lost. Suddenly, something inside the formation made him freeze. A massive spike of aggressive energy. The enemies were already at the mountain base. But honestly, the Chang Jin sect leader felt going all out against Tang rookies was overkill. It was literally 2 Tang disciples versus over 200 fighters. With backup sects pulling up, that number hit 300. Still, he came here fully prepared for a bloody Tang clan war. Yeah, it was total overkill. But this mountain belonged to the sect, and Gandong's brute strength easily crushed the crippled Tang clan. Enough talking, he declared. They were rolling out immediately. But 0 people realized the Jigo clan was spying right on them. Staring at sect leader Ma Qianhu, Jigo realized something scary. Unless that guy actually fought in the contest, finding this spot was impossible, which obviously meant one thing: they had a rat. He had to warn the Bangui brigade. But wait, if he used these guys to assassinate 28, the Tang clan would never trace it back to him. So what do you and I make of this? He is smiling like a total villain, thinking he is perfectly safe. Meanwhile, our masked girl is still beating herself up for completely missing him right in front of her. She just waited for one single opening. Stick with me here. What do you think is on her blade? He had never seen poison this bright red. Using that distraction, she splashed the liquid straight at him for a quick kill. But he caught her wrist instantly. Curious about the strange stuff, he demanded answers. She tried to speak but choked on her words. Eyeing the vial, he asked if it was straight up poison. Judging by that bright color, it matched whatever she wiped on her blade. Smashing her straight to her knees, he angrily demanded the real truth. He squeezed her cheeks open, threatening that if she stayed quiet, they could get way more hands-on with those painful past memories. Just as he went to pour the toxin down her throat, she totally panicked, begging and promising to talk. But honestly, he figured she should taste it first to tell him exactly what kind of deadly poison it was. Turns out, it was the fire dragon poison, one of the Tang Clan's absolute top-tier deadly toxins. That definitely got his attention. The Tang Clan's legendary poisons were absolutely no joke. If it really was the fire dragon poison, it was basically a massive treasure, and letting her just waste it would be totally stupid. She begged him to let her go, saying she had already fully surrendered. She even offered backup against the others, but he coldly shot her down for dodging the real question. He needed to know if the Jiggle clan was involved. Now watch closely. He told her to spill the truth, or she'd be drinking all that fire dragon poison. She totally caved, confessing it was a marriage alliance to officially join their two clans. They wanted her to marry the future clan leader, basically a sneaky power play by the Jiggle leaders to secure their status. Honestly, most people would literally beg for a crazy dream match like that one. Grabbing the rest of the poison with one hand while choking her with the other, he totally ignored her frantic questions. He just flat out told her he wasn't sharing any of it. Seeing him chug the fire dragon poison, she completely panicked. The flavor totally shocked him. It literally tasted like strawberry. But instantly insane heat exploded from him like wild raging flames. Feeling in absolute shock, she could not believe her eyes. Not even an invulnerable body could survive the Tang Clan's most legendary deadly toxins. She fully expected him to burn to ashes, but his grip never even slightly loosened. With literal flames erupting around his head, she froze. He just casually muttered that the poison suddenly got super spicy. Absolutely shattered, the girl stared in sheer terror. This was the legendary poisoner's realm, a tier way beyond any basic invulnerable body. Her grandfather called it real, but she never imagined she'd face an actual living poisoner. He locked eyes with her and casually struck her torso, paralyzing her body completely on the spot. You and I both knew he wasn't that soft. He told her he definitely wasn't killing himself with her poison. Checking his hands, he felt his crazy energy completely change. A simple plant poison being this overpowered. It felt exactly like training in elite yin-yang martial arts. He just walked away, leaving her permanently frozen on her knees, sarcastically thanking her for the awesome power-up. Suddenly, a weird feeling hit him. Glancing up, the dark night sky was literally glowing like early dawn. The entire formation started shifting crazily. At first, he just assumed the big contest had finally ended early. But nope. What he actually sensed was a massive wave of random enemies suddenly spawning. Like 200 or maybe 300 guys. Way too suspicious. There's no way the Jiggle clan missed a huge army like that, so if they actually let them inside the formation on purpose, sending him free targets to train on was some ridiculously good luck. In the brutal goo poison match, only a single survivor could remain. Jiggle frantically reported the massive invasion to the Banhui brigade, making the listening warrior tense up instantly. Jin quickly realized there had to be a dirty spy hiding among them. They already got the enemy info, about 300 troops, led by Mak and Juk, from the infamous Black Moon Sword clan. Why were Sichuan fighters even here? How did they crack the hidden 7-lock ghost formation? Doesn't matter right now, there was absolutely no time for questions. They needed to stop this fast, but Jiggle panicked. He explained that this was a disaster nobody ever saw coming. Once those invaders breached the poison match formation, absolutely no one outside could help them. They just had to trust the young clan members inside. Honestly, praying for their survival was their only option left. Seeing his youngest son lying dead on the ground, the Black Moon sect leader completely lost his mind. Changjin sect leader confirmed they hit the right spot. Looking at that tiny wound, he figured a stealthy needle caused the kill. Barely any fight left behind. Trust me, you're going to want to see who gets taken down next. Alright, stick with me here. The Black Moon sect leader is absolutely furious, screaming at his men to wipe out those Tang Clan rats. He is dead sure a scout spotted them and hid. If anyone sees a target, they need to sound the alarm right away. But nobody there actually had the Tang name. The boss stays calm though his killing intent is basically leaking out right now. Someone guesses the dead body they just found might be their own spy. Only needle marks on the neck. Classic Tang Clan. That is why everyone fears them. Strong or not, they attack to kill. The boss warns them about hidden weapons, but a massive barrage hits almost instantly. An ambush already. Seeing his disciple drop, he instantly realizes poisoned needles. They scream about the sneak attack and scramble to draw their swords, but they literally cannot see where the strikes are coming from. They yell for the coward to come out, warning everyone to stay sharp, but nothing works. Needles rain down from above. Dodging them is literally impossible at this point. Wave after wave of venomous metal tears through the crowd. Yeon-Myeong smirks. His single palm poison technique, absolutely devastating killing power. At least against these basic foot soldiers it works perfectly. With a flick of his wrist he calls every needle back. He loves this. Flow technique barely takes any internal energy to scatter poison. As he moves on he decides this combo is absolutely broken. Now he just needs to hunt the Eastern group. Soon reports drop that every single search team got wiped out. All sporting those same needle wounds. It looks like they all caught the exact same deadly poison as that first corpse. Now pay attention to this part. Every group drops exactly the same way, and before they can even blink, the Western lookout goes dead silent. Hearing 0 teams made it back, the sect leader starts sweating. That was his whole crew. In just 1 hour, 100 men died the exact same way. One guy asks if a single person could actually pull this off. If it is a whole squad, they are cooked. It seriously feels like a Tang Clan master is hunting them. He finally realizes the hunters are the prey. So he calls up Jang Banju to take command. Since Zhang throws spectral weapons, he decides to set up an ambush himself. He cannot lose more guys and leaves Zhang in charge. Then he notices something super weird. 0 presence anywhere. The dead silence pisses him off. Just losing men for absolutely nothing. Running away right now might actually be the smartest move to survive this. He announces they leave in 1 hour. Suddenly a voice answers him. He looks up, some guy is chilling on a branch. And unfortunately for the boss, this kid has 0 plans to let anyone escape. Pure fear grips him. He cannot figure out how his senses missed him. He screams at everyone to dodge right away. He tries to save his men, but in a flash they all get struck down. The body count is just massive. Only the boss is left standing, and Yeon-Myeong casually asks his rank. Even the Chungjin sect leader was on high alert. We both saw him drop from that tree, right? Yet the leader sensed nothing. One look confirms this kid caused the entire bloodbath. He definitely does not look like some ancient master though. The boss figures this attack is some void absorption trick. But only a peak master who reached true enlightenment should be able to pull that off. Then he spots it, the kid stops attacking and just pauses to catch his breath. That means the move eats up insane amounts of internal energy. Hope sparks and a creepy smile appears. Thinks the kid is just cocky. He mentions he never heard of anyone like him in the Tang Clan. Yeon-Myeong fires back that it does not matter at all. That cold answer completely stuns the boss. He savagely tells him a dead man does not need to know his name. The boss's smug smile instantly vanishes. Seeing red, the sect leader growls that if this brat wants to die so badly, he will happily oblige. He gathers his aura, sharpening every single movement of his technique for max damage. His breathing slows as he focuses. One strike will end this. He charges in, but the blow just gets casually blocked. He literally cannot process how his ultimate attack got swatted away. Yeon-Myeong sneers. Is that really his strongest move? Embarrassing. He says he can wait a little longer. Maybe the old man can actually power up that pathetic attack. This actually tracks back before the tournament. The Spearhead sect, one of the 9 clans, joined the Black Death Alliance. Zhang Jinbong joined them willingly, and those guys highly valued his raw skill and personal moves. And trust me, you are going to want to remember this. By the time he met the syndicate leader, his signature technique had completely mutated. Stick with me, you and I are about to see this legendary technique change hands. The syndicate boss wanted it reaching for the heavens, so the Black Death leader rebranded it as the Heavenly Quake Palm. This was the ultimate move handed straight down by the syndicate boss. Yet our guy totally crushed it. Flawlessly. The Tang Clan kid just watched in silence as Yeon-Myeong unleashed the absolute nightmare fire dragon poison. We're talking top-tier deadly toxins here, literally carrying a fire dragon's burning breath. Control this, with toxic aura, pure madness, or killer sword intent, the power would be absolutely terrifying. The sect leader was completely lost. How could a kid pack such monstrous force? He just kept struggling against the block. He refused to believe his Heavenly Quake Palm had lost. But honestly, the truth was simple. He just wasn't strong enough. His body literally shattered into tiny petrified chunks. Boom. Yeon-Myeong saw what a tiny drop of the 10 poisons could do. Super useful. Since the toxic chi ran so hot, he decided to casually name it Fire Poison Strength. Then he looked around wondering who to burn alive next. Because yeah, he had 0 plans to let anyone walk away. Wiping them all out first just made sense. The surviving soldiers absolutely hated hearing that from some kid. They started screaming, demanding answers. Was he the guy, the guardian disciple who murdered their youngest brother? They suddenly remembered his brutal threat, leaving 0 ashes behind in Gangdong or anywhere else. Watch closely here. Even after seeing him absolutely fold their boss, they still thought they had a chance. Orders dropped and they surrounded him. Standing right in the middle, he heard them whispering, "Watch out for poison, watch for hidden weapons. Just wear him down first until he's completely trapped." Now the Black Moon Sword Sect leader was seeing red, desperate to avenge his little brother's brutal death. His fallen men couldn't die for absolutely nothing. This cocky kid had to go. But Yeon-Myeong didn't even flinch. He just stood dead center, totally relaxed, waiting for them. Their little formation gave him major training vibes. Smiling, he busted out the dance of the whirling dog, thrilled to test out something fresh. Sand whipped up into the air. And just like that, he completely vanished from the circle. Pure panic set in. They scrambled to find him, but when they did, the world turned red. Game over. Nowhere to run. Even the sect leader was sweating bullets. He completely missed the movement, too fast. One single kid was turning the entire battlefield completely upside down. As more angry enemies rushed in for payback, he casually raised a hand and politely asked to borrow their swords. The second he spoke, their blades literally turned to dust. Oh yeah, they were definitely calling him a monster now. Destroying swords without even laying a finger on them, he took those shattered fragments, controlling the space with pure intent. The broken metal started spinning around him like deadly little buzzsaws. Everything orbited his body. Nothing could even touch him. This right here was the absolute peak of Tang Clan hidden weapons. He just kept walking. I know what you're thinking. A kid pulling off the Reign of 10,000 Heavenly Blossoms. Most people thought that was impossible, especially at this terrifying level. Against weak fodder, it was total overkill. So he casually renamed this custom version Iron Shard Barrage. Now Yeon-Myeong was getting bored. They sent all these guys to wear him down, wasn't it his turn to play? That little taunt, it absolutely infuriated the Black Moon leader. He spit back that this cocky attitude would get him killed. He swore they'd see how long that smirk lasted. They weren't scared of some kid. Even after seeing what the kid did to the twin sword technique and the syndicate boss's silent sword technique, this arrogant leader truly believed he could crush him. Yeon-Myeong was honestly tired of hearing this. Just the same boring villain speech on repeat. Blinded by revenge, the man charged in, screaming at him to shut up. He swore he would destroy him, but really he just yanked out a short sword and braced himself. The second the leader fired off the Taiwei silent sword technique, Yeon-Myeong countered instantly with the Whirlpool Arc sword dance, which only made Yeon-Myeong yawn. Seeing his ultimate moves swatted away like flies, the sect leader completely lost his mind. He went all out, unleashing the final Taiwei silent sword move. But Yeon-Myeong blocked it with one tiny short blade. Just that one single clash was enough to completely drain the Black Moon leader's energy. He couldn't understand it. How did a simple dagger block his ultimate strike? Yeon-Myeong calmly mentioned he knew a little about swords, having already read his entire intent. Then, almost like a kind teacher, he decided to show him the real move. He executed it flawlessly with just the short blade. The sect leader was left completely speechless. In pure shock, he couldn't believe this kid could actually use the silent sword technique. So what do you and I take from this? After that perfect sweep, Yeon-Myeong noted the killing aura was so heavy he figured this blade was forged for murder from the very start. Stick with me, controlling this was a total joke. The sect leader just stared, totally stunned. Even he needed years to master the ultimate twin sword technique. Then it hit him. The guy Yeon-Myeong dropped hours ago used that exact art. Yeon-Myeong claimed he barely knew a thing. He just knew they worked for the Black Death Alliance. Every copied martial art evolved into a deadly custom-fit upgrade for them, and that right there is exactly why so many fools sold their souls to join. As long as you could handle pure killing energy, stealing a move like this was easy. Smiling, our MC admitted he fed him that art on purpose, knowing the Alliance leader never even trusted the guy anyway. Our MC roasted the guy, saying he did okay for a lazy bum. So as a reward, he was going to show off a move. Yeon-Myeong casually warned him not to panic. That obvious flex just made the Black Moon sect leader sweat, totally clueless about what was coming. Yeon-Myeong dropped some knowledge. Once you hit the transcendental tier, weapon size means literally nothing. Makin-Hu thought he had the upper hand, but now he was terrified by this kid. Watch closely now. Yeon-Myeong activates Blade River. This sect leader had decades of experience fighting with dual long swords, but a kid holding a tiny blade still left him completely speechless. The old man listened to Yeon-Myeong flex his new power. It was not physical strength. This was completely different. Makin-Hu finally understood. The silent sword technique hit way harder than normal steel. Then boom, this kid casually tossed blade energy, dropped Blade River, and had already maxed out the final stage. Knowing he was dead meat, he turned and sprinted for his life. Our Tang Clan boy just laughed, yelling that he was only running in circles. Either way, it was game over the second he got caught. Being from the Tang Clan, Yeon-Myeong decided a flashy ending was perfect. While he calmly prepped his attack, the sect leader sprinted like crazy. His mind was breaking. Nobody warned him the Tang Clan hid an absolute monster like this. Max-level beast from the ruined Tang Clan. The Alliance leader would definitely freak out over this. Then he glanced back. Trees were getting shredded out of nowhere just to mess with him. He had no clue what was happening. Glowing energy rings. These tiny hoops were slicing thick trunks like they were butter, moving at absolutely insane speeds. When the strikes finally caught up, he wildly tried to block. He knew running forever was useless. He had to fight back. Skidding to a halt, he screamed at the spinning rings to bring it on as he braced for death. You saw that too, right? He was barely hanging on, refusing to die. But those hits were insanely heavy, cracking his blade and forcing him to juggle the silent sword technique too. And the second that cracked sword shattered, he started getting sliced to pieces. The rings shredded his body straight up, severing his limbs. Yet down to one sword he kept swinging. After swatting a few rings away, his rage spiked. He screamed that his Black Moon sect wouldn't just roll over. Even beaten half to death, he thought staying calm would buy him a way out of this mess. Trying to cope, he assumed Yeon-Myeong was totally out of gas. But then the kid strolled over chilling and actually complimented his effort. The sect leader froze even after spamming a massive ultimate move. This kid's energy tank was completely full. With a quick hand sign, he relaunched the attack. The sect leader watched the blade spinning right out of the dirt. He floated up, endlessly rotating. His brain completely broke down. This guy was definitely not human. This man had betrayed his Tang Clan roots, sold his soul to the Black Death Alliance and grinded for his reputation. Yet he could not even scratch this kid. Right then, he seriously questioned every single life choice he had made. Seeing the enemy completely broken, Yeon-Myeong waved a hand, calling his wild weapons back home. The rings floated back onto his fingers, spinning flawlessly, without leaving a single scratch on him. He glanced around to see if everyone dropped while he was busy testing out his moves. Being the clan's successor meant he had to teach his juniors properly now. But for now, playtime was officially over. He still had a few loose ends to tie up. He prepped one last epic technique to deal with those corrupt elders who dared to kidnap his own mother. Jiggle clan trying to steal the Tang clan had to fall too. Time for brutal payback, and he started smashing their formation. Meanwhile, the brigade outside aggressively asked Changshin if there was no way inside. That is where we leave it. Jiggle locked the area down tight, leaving Yeon-Myeong's crew totally panicking. Alright, stick with me here. Jiggle knew he was lying but stayed silent until everything finished. Entering that formation meant the entrance slammed shut forever. With the outside guards beaten and the inside targets locked in, nobody was supposed to survive this field. Trapped inside were the Great Dark Silent Sword Sect and Black Moon Sword Sect. Jiggle figured even number 28 had zero chance of coming back alive. What a waste of talent. But while chatting about the Tang clan's future, a terrifyingly familiar energy suddenly hit him. He knew whatever was approaching spelled absolute death. The supervisor and the crew saw who it was and went wild. Tang Yuri threw herself at Yeon-Myeong. She reminded him that until the competition ended, only his friends had permission to beat him up. Gul was absolutely horrified to see number 28 still breathing. Yeon-Myeong casually greeted his friends while Jigul panicked over this impossible reality. Seriously, how did 300 elite soldiers fail to kill one single brat? But then Yeon-Myeong shot a single glance his way, making him physically shake and hide behind his fan. Yeon-Myeong also spotted Tang Yeon-Myeong waving a hand in greeting but only gave a cold stare back. Jigul was losing his mind over this. He remembered Yeon-Myeong had once shattered a heavily locked 7 ghost formation before. That unit was built for actual warfare. We're talking earthly punishment level. Even a grandmaster would struggle surviving that. Yet here, Yeon-Myeong was walking out totally fine. Maybe the kid realized someone was watching him. Honestly, Yeon-Myeong wanted to kill him right there. But until he officially became chief, he couldn't do anything that might ruin his reputation. The supervisor felt a massive wave of relief seeing Tang Yeon-Myeong perfectly safe. He apologized for making Warrior 1 Jin stress out, while secretly planning how to crush those annoying elders first. The supervisor praised his survival but desperately needed to know what actually went down and where the other fighters were. Now watch this closely. The ground started shaking like a massive earthquake. Up above, warriors saw a sky crack, pouring blinding light everywhere. Jigul immediately knew the unit holding the 7 locked ghost formation was completely shattering. Suddenly, everyone saw broken sky fragments, with each piece replaying glowing images of the brutal fight. Well, that saved Yeon-Myeong an explanation. The whole brigade just stared at the magical fragments showing off the enemy uniforms. Most were from the Black Moon Sword Sect. The supervisor stood stunned. Yeon-Myeong really fought an entire army alone. Then someone spotted a very familiar figure. It was the Black Moon Sword Sect leader. That double sword sheath meant it was definitely Ma In-hoo. The supervisor knew Ma In-hoo shouldn't have lost to a kid. Yeon-Myeong casually shrugged, saying there were a ton of them, but it wasn't that hard. The brigade leader laughed. That sounded exactly like him. He was already way past normal leader level, taking down over 100 elite enemies alone. Plus, the Black Moon Sword Sect wasn't just some random weak guild. His crew cheered that the leader seat was his from day one. Meanwhile, Moon-chan felt pathetic since his arm was totally destroyed. He was still boiling with pure hatred toward Tang Yeon-Myeong. He used to think this guy was just trash who couldn't learn martial arts. I know what you're thinking. How did he get this far? Well, the tournament was finally over. They officially announced the winner, number 28 Tang Yeon-Myeong. They asked if anyone dared to challenge the final result. Moon-chan wanted to, but with a wrecked arm, he had to sit there quietly. Since nobody stepped up to fight, they declared the match completely fair. And just like that, the crazy tournament officially wrapped up. All warriors were ordered to line up in front of Tang Yeon-Myeong. His squad was ecstatic. Surviving that impossible battle made this victory hit entirely different. The supervisor realized the struggling Tang clan finally had a true winner. To him, this kid was the exact leader needed to bring their glorious clan back. They crowned him the new master. Aside from Tang Wenjin, 82 members stood there. They all knelt before the new Tang clan chief, shouting for his long life. His followers already noticed people treating him with real respect. Even so, his close friends weren't sure if they needed to use formal titles now. The supervisor believed that even though he wasn't 20 yet, this kid's insane growth could restore their clan's legendary name. Yu Miao shouted out that he already knew their goals, promising it wouldn't take long. It honestly felt like he was reading their minds. Hearing that made his new authority feel totally real. Everyone pledged loyalty, and his very first order was to get moving. They headed straight for the main house. Meanwhile, Moon Chan boiled with rage, furious that Yu Miao kept getting everything he ever wanted. Trust me, this isn't over. He swore to get brutal revenge, even if it meant selling his soul. Alright, you and I are jumping into the aftermath. Everyone bails, leaving just corpses. Tai Hu from the United Sect mourns his fallen leader. He rushed over the second he heard the bad news. Soon backup arrives, reminding him that wandering around alone is a terrible idea. They tell him to step up. He is the top dog now. But honestly, he is spacing out. The whole scene feels off. Jianzhou barks at him to stop dodging the main issue. Who could relax next to a mountain of dead bodies? Nobody. He decides they need to pack up and leave immediately. Still, Jianzhou is totally stunned. Over 300 guys wiped out, he mutters that an old eagle will always beat a young crow. Classic moves from a clan that used to hold real power. But here's the crazy part. The Tang clan had fewer than 100 members out in plain sight. A massacre this massive should have turned heads, meaning someone absolutely sent them here on purpose. But why? And to make things weirder, the Blood family actually sent super expensive gifts for the tournament. Unless somebody is playing dirty, nothing makes a lick of sense. The leader sighs. He never thought the Kang family blade art had dropped this low. One single dagger took out so many. Hyanzu is totally mind-blown. Wait, just one person did all this damage. He rubs his eyes, but the evidence is real. Now, watch closely, because this gets wild. Most bodies show sword cuts, but some never even drew their weapons, dropped dead in seconds. They really need to catch this monster, so next stop, Sichuan province. Hyanzu sweats, bullets, terrified they might bump into the killer. The leader just laughs it off. Did he forget who the boss is? Protecting himself is a piece of cake. No sweat, Hyanzu knows it isn't that simple, still deeply worrying for his master's absolute safety. Foolish or not, the leader genuinely believes he can smash this mysterious killer in an all-out fight. Even so, his master is acting way too stubborn. He should really go home first, or at least send a quick message ahead, especially since the Black Death Alliance controls the south and the demonic cult runs the east. Despite all that danger, the boss wants to meet the mastermind. Hyanzu suspects he secretly plans to use the Tang clan against the Black Death Alliance. Either way, the Tang clan has basically been a running joke for years now. Let's hope swords don't get drawn. Meanwhile, the elders in Jandro listen as warriors finally bring the tournament competitors back home. Guess the big contest wrapped up way earlier than anyone expected. He figures that kid Yang Riyang packing that insane fire dragon poison easily snagged the absolute win. The plot twist, someone mentions that lady didn't even make it back. Talk about a massive shock. Everyone bet on the leader's grandson, but that girl trained like an absolute maniac after scarring her face. Still, surviving is the only thing that really matters here. These folks are major VIPs. Suddenly, they spot the Tang family crest. You seeing this too? These definitely are not your average returning warriors. The competition is officially over, and time just flew by. Looking at Tang Yeon-Myeong, people whisper about who he really is. The girls around him totally swooning non-stop. One dad spots his daughter in the crowd and completely breaks down crying. Young Master Jianjil is also there, looking suspiciously happy. All around them, relieved families rush in, hugging their loved ones super tight. But if someone is missing, instant panic mode. People just straight up bawl. Yu-Myeong understands those are parents whose kids did not survive. It hits him deep. His own mom must be freaking out right now. Imagine he walks in and she doesn't even recognize her own son. He literally pictures her hilarious jaw-dropped expression. His funny daydream gets totally wrecked when Tang Yuri shouts at him to look right over to the side. She points at the General Administration Department. Bouncing with excitement, she claims the guy with glasses is her dad. Noticing his freckles, Yu-Myeong tells her to take good care of him. Getting closer, she smirks, refusing to miss a golden chance like this. She explains that her father never got a promotion because he is simply too nice. So he has been stuck doing grunt work forever. Yu-Myeong grins, realizing this underdog status actually works perfectly in his favor. Guys tied too closely to the old elders, major problem later on. Better to recruit the outcasts, willing to stand by his side. So he decides to dig deeper into Ai-Jin. Meanwhile, Mirio suspects Ai-Jin totally manipulated the timing. Tang No Kisum, the Tang clan general commander, praises everyone's hard work. Right after Chang Xin steps up to greet the clan chief, the commander swears he will never forget how the Jiggle clan stepped up to help the main house. Jiggle just wants that favor returned later. He smiles, satisfied that their support kept the bloody tournament peaceful. And trust me, we're just starting. Yumian finally gets his massive achievement officially recognized. Stick with me here, you're about to witness the ultimate power play. He told the warriors to finally go rest, claiming the elders were already waiting. He added that after years of grinding, their missions were finally done. They had to be exhausted. But the brigade leader, he just apologized and flat out refused to visit the elders. Introducing himself as Tang Wanjin, he explained he was only temporarily running the honor guard. The general commander stared at him like he was crazy. Did he hear that right? Refusing the elders, Wanjin calmly replied that the tournament rules only mentioned the winner and the poison tower. Visiting those elders made zero sense. Furious, the commander demanded to know how a mere warrior dared lecture him about rules. Wanjin realized objecting now meant openly ignoring the elders. But then someone stepped right up. It was Yeon-Myeong. He asked if someone in the main house actually outranked the family head. If so, he really wanted to know who exactly was he the tournament winner supposed to be. Sweating bullets, the commander reported everything back to the elders. Hearing that Yeon-Myeong actually won, they were absolutely stunned. The ultimate victor was Tang Yeon-Myeong. Nobody could believe it. How did a guy like him win? They brought up the fire dragon poison, claiming he never even used it. Guokran had lost to Yeon-Myeong again, leaving the Sichuan leader in absolute disbelief. He knew the kid had talent and worked hard, but accepting this boy as the new chief, impossible. Now pay close attention here. Before the finals, everyone was dead certain he couldn't win. Improving that much in just 3 years felt completely fake. They were convinced he used some dirty trick. The second elder, Tang Yeon-Myeong, grumbled that he planned to leave and put the war behind him. The fourth elder agreed, completely baffled by how someone like Yeon-Myeong crushed the other candidates. He stated that to get answers, they needed to find Yeon-Myeong first. So why hadn't the boy showed up at the elder's house? Someone pointed out that only the clan leader can summon the successor even with an empty throne. He reminded them he was challenged before for rejecting their calls, adding that Yeon-Myeong wasn't officially the successor yet. The commander knew a successor who hated the elders would ruin them. So he nervously urged Yeon-Myeong not to provoke the old men. Yeon-Myeong just hit him with a dead-eyed stare and said that was enough. That single look made the man's bones rattle. Dark killing intent was literally pouring off him. Push him any further and they'd be torn to shreds. Absolutely terrified, the commander ran off to the elders. The young winner didn't give a damn about those lazy old men. The tournament was over. Their rule finished. Yeon-Myeong ordered the commander to drag the elders to him instead, telling him to make one thing clear. The rain was dead. Of course, one elder just laughed it off as a kid's arrogance. Even the legendary poison phoenix treaded lightly around them. But honestly, he saw an opportunity here. Since Yeon-Myeong wasn't the official sect leader yet, they could just question his attitude and strip his succession rights away. Just like the tower test, they needed to see what he was really made of. The elder barked orders to the warriors outside. He rallied the Great Elder's troops, the Integrity Unit, the Poison Squad, and the 5th Elder's Elite Shadow Unit. I know what you're thinking, massive overkill, right? He even sent the Blue Dragon Force straight to the tower. They were marching to flex their authority and teach this arrogant kid how the real world worked. He was about to learn who actually ruled the Tang family. Meanwhile, the Dark King Tang Jiaki couldn't believe his nephew won the succession contest. Yeon-Myeong just smirked. He heard right. The Dark King always knew the kid was special. But now his aura was insanely heavy, way stronger than before. He knew his sister would be thrilled. But as Tang Munshin's father, Jiaki, was completely floored by Yeon-Myeong's massive victory. Just recently, he had marched to Yeon-Myeong's house, threatening him and his mother over his own son losing an arm. He even bragged that he didn't care if revenge took 4 years. Now standing right in front of the new leader, Yeon-Myeong threw those exact words back. With a cold glare, he agreed it hadn't even taken 4 years. Then he delivered a brutal warning: watch your mouth in the Tang house or your other son loses an arm too. The Dark King could easily tell his nephew was still carrying all that bitter rage. Meanwhile, the brigade leader was seriously sweating over Yeon-Myeong. He remembered the general's absolute shock seeing the Poison Phoenix's son. He never knew Yeon-Myeong was her son. Wild place to stop right. Let's dive right into this crazy manhwa. The general mentioned secrets to uncover, but that talk could wait. The brigade leader finally understood the truth. He actually was that legendary person's son. That meant everything connected straight back to the epic clash with the heavenly bright demon lord who was hunting the poisoned phoenix. Those Tang warriors threw their lives on the line. But despite having equal numbers, the power gap was just massive. The whole land turned into pure chaos and ruin. Still, their resistance, way fiercer than anyone predicted, was an absolute bloodbath. Even the leader died, but the nightmare continued. Following that tyrant's orders, they were forced to release everything. The enemy just kept pushing. They completely ignored the poison arts, totally reckless about dying. The Tang begged their elders for backup against the demon lord. But those cowards completely refused. If they had just stepped up, the casualties would have been way lower. Instead, those shameless old fools actually blamed the Phoenix. They claimed the clan would be fine if she just surrendered to the Demon Lord. Blocked from even joining the fight, she still ended up taking all the elder leaders' blame. She literally did nothing wrong, but sadly, she should have been there protecting the young lord she watched over. He figured everyone already realized whose kid this guy was. Especially the cowards who messed up that day. It really felt like fate handing them a second chance, and this time they had to move. But suddenly, a booming voice cut him off, yelling to stop. He knew that voice instantly. Yeon-Myeong calmly suggested heading outside to look. Wildly enough, the honor guards were actually standing against the Elder Council. The furious elder leader immediately demanded to know where Tang Yeon-Myeong was. The brigade leader realized our guy totally predicted this. Though honestly, having his own forces pinned down was a surprise. Now pay attention here. Seeing everyone gathered, he knew the elders felt their power threatened. The elder leader snapped that they made zero sense ordering them to drag Yeon-Myeong out. But our boy just smirked. No need for that. He was already sitting right there. The Dark King quickly noticed that the third elder and his crew had arrived too. They screamed, demanding how he dared sit in the future clan leader's chair without their permission. Yeon-Myeong casually replied he already proved himself by winning the whole exam. They were just hunting for rule breakers inside the tower. Then he stared them down, asking what else they possibly wanted. The elders practically exploded at his tone. How dare this brat disrespect the mighty clan elders? They threatened the branch leader straight up. If he valued his life, he better keep his mouth shut about that exam. Yeon-Myeong had actually already heard the rumor. The events of the competition were strictly off limits, so clan laws were way looser than expected. He sarcastically added that maybe he got an unfair advantage. One elder totally snapped. He yelled that the Black Moon Sword Sect brought 300 fighters to interfere. If that was fair, what wasn't? I know what you're thinking. Did he cheat? Yeon-Myeong calmly explained, the other two killed everyone first, so he just wiped them out. Since their little stunt happened after the match, he saw zero unfairness in his epic win. The elder absolutely lost his mind hearing this cocky kid actually murdered his precious grandson. Yeon-Myeong just told him to hike back up the mountain and look. Unless the Gangyung sect cleaned up the mess, the corpse was still sitting there. Completely enraged, the furious elder launched a deadly strike right at him. The Dark King and brigade leader panicked instantly. The shockwave was so massive it slammed into everyone nearby. Calling him an absolute fool, the elder screamed he only brought it up because he felt like it. But Yeon-Myeong, he blocked the ultimate attack, one-handed, calmly asking if he still doubted him. Everyone around them stood completely stunned. Still holding that insane strike, he stared the elder down. Could he seriously not accept his grandson was dead? The elder was shook. His demon-killing poison stopped with a single hand. How was it blocked that easily? For one terrifying second, he wondered if this brat's energy already surpassed his decades of training. But he shoved that scary thought away, screaming how this brat dared to mock an elder. Yeon-Myeong just pulled out a poison vial that belonged to Yanggryong, holding it right in the elder's face. When the sweating elder asked where he got it, Yeon-Myeong smiled. He already knew, and it was definitely making him sweat. He casually tossed the vial at the old man, accusing him of handing it to his granddaughter. If it was just some cheap poison, maybe nobody cares. But this was the legendary fire dragon poison, one of the clan's top 10. The shocked brigade leader immediately asked if that was actually inside the vial. And yes, it was. The brigade leader and his squad went completely speechless. So that's why they felt such an insane burning energy. The insane vial had even shattered right through the third elder's seal. Yeon-Myeong dragged him, saying he used a top 10 poison for his own greedy games. He completely disrespected the burial brigade in the process. So what do you and I take from this? The brigade leader confirmed it could kill top-tier masters. With the formula lost forever, those 10 poisons are straight-up nightmare fuel now. You and I are starting with something worth more than clan treasure. Using fire dragon poison for selfish reasons. That means the ultimate penalty. One elder starts screaming, demanding to know what he meant. Another guy barks that nobody has the right to punish an elder. He orders the guards to grab our boy immediately, but Yeon-Myeong snaps right back. He asks why the old man gets a free pass just because of his fancy elder title. He declares this corrupt elder won't escape clan law or get an honorable death. At the very least, his granddaughter will be waiting for his pathetic soul in the afterlife. Then he literally lets the fire dragon poison burn him alive. He calls every single elder rotten to the core. Seriously, what right do they have to pick the next clan leader? As for his own position, he is making that call himself. The brigade leader and his troops watch him stay completely ice cold in front of everyone. For the first time, they actually believe the clan might change for the better. But the head elder flips out, demanding to know how he dared to execute one of them. Yeon-Myeong slowly turns to the grand elder Tang Sokjang. He asks the old man if he knows his disciple just risked the whole clan. The grand elder demands answers, and Yeon-Myeong asks if he even grasps the situation. Watch closely now. He reveals the guy was a Dark Moon sword sect spy, asking how nobody realized it. Everyone already knew that specific sect had completely crashed the competition grounds earlier. The Grand Elder accuses him of helping the enemy and screams for proof. Yeon-Myeong casually promises to show it, locking eyes with Tang Gajil. He tells the crowd that Tang Gajil is the only living witness who can expose this fake. He explains that back in his isolation hall he threw down with Tang Gurin and got the proof. Just look at those wounds, definitely not from poison or stealth tricks. They were made by a literal sword technique, even if he missed it initially. It might not have been a twin sword style, but the panicking elder claims this is just a wild guess. The crowd starts cornering him because it is absolutely not a guess. Someone spotted Mak Anjak using that exact sword art from afar. Plus everyone realized most of his victims had been horribly sliced to pieces. Our young MC adds that right before the assassination attempt the traitor confessed everything. He even dropped his real name out loud, Mak Anjak. Instantly the crowd gasps. That name belongs to the discarded bastard child everyone whispered about. Yeon-Myeong tells Tang Gijil he planned to use him as a witness anyway, but he genuinely never expected the guy to step up on his own. The man says Yeon-Myeong saved his life, so paying him back is only fair. Yeon-Myeong nods, saying that definitely makes this whole mess easier. The cornered spy realizes the kid actually has a witness, though it hardly matters. If this keeps up, he is completely done for. He desperately screams for the elders to stop him. You and I know he won't escape. The warriors wonder why Elder Pa Ryong isn't punished yet, but our MC just walks over telling him not to rush. He cannot just let this slide. Tang Gurin was seconds away from becoming leader and handing the entire Tang clan straight to the enemy sect. Our young leader decides the old man has crossed every line. As soon as Yeon-Myeong prepares to strike, the panicked elder is totally paralyzed. In a flash, his arm gets sliced clean off so fast nobody even registers the movement. The Dark King and brigade leader are left shaking at this brutal judgment. Surprisingly, Yeon-Myeong then states there is zero proof of collusion, halting the punishment right there. The bleeding elder actually thanks him for his life. He is still completely stunned by that impossibly fast sword slash. But just when they think our MC showed actual mercy, the sneaky elder deploys poison. It is the infamous, formless poison. No color, zero smell, no taste, and absolutely lethal. Sure, it is not the fully perfected recipe, but the elder spent decades crafting it. He firmly believes nobody can survive this hit no matter their power level. He just wants bloody revenge without leaving a single trace. Yeon-Myeong just watches him kneel, staring right into his eyes. He asks if that is really his best trick. The elder panics. Did he notice? Then his hand gets chopped off too. Everyone is absolutely clueless. Yeon-Myeong just talked about showing mercy, but now he is acting exactly like a ruthless clan leader taking the throne. A few guys whisper, trying to figure out what just happened. Then the whole crowd looks down at the severed hand. Right next to it, a tiny poison bottle. Yeon-Myeong tells the pathetic old man he noticed the exact second he faked, begging to sneak an attack. Honestly, it is completely shameless for a clan elder to beg for his life only to try a cheap assassination. That alone violates every clan law. He declares that traitors get judged without mercy and steps up to enforce the rules. With his absolute authority established, the entire crowd goes dead silent. He warns the remaining elders that their fancy titles don't place them above Tang clan law. If anyone uses their rank for corruption again, he will end them personally. So what do you and I take from this? He knows this fragile clan could collapse tomorrow. He swore to crush the evil sects and protect everyone as long as they accepted him as the true Tang clan leader. Meanwhile, the wild news reached his mother at her residence. Here we go. You and I both know she couldn't believe he actually crushed the competition and broke the elders. She still had chills, remembering that epic moment when the entire tower of stealth and poison bowed down. She called him truly admirable, wishing her late son Young Ryong was still alive to witness this. He definitely would have been proud. Yeon really wanted to run and reveal he was alive, but the clan leader grind never stops. Over at the tower, the Dark King officially announced that the new leader was moving all operations there immediately. The elders were fuming, but nobody dared to speak up. Sure, the new leader was an absolute prodigy, but he severely lacked experience. Despite that fear, Elder O still bravely called him out. Those sneaky elders just wanted to use his age as an excuse to keep their authority. Yan played along, saying he'd pick a regent later. But boom, the investigation hit hard. They caught the third elder red-handed smuggling that fire dragon poison, with poison stock suddenly vanishing into thin air. Everyone started questioning if the elders were totally useless. So control of the 10 poisons shifted to the tower, completely stripping those old fools of their massive power. Yan honestly couldn't care less about micromanaging the military, so the elders were left to handle the troops. With one elder dead, the direct command and sovereign spirit forces were just sitting there without a boss. Problem solved. He just merged them into the shadow troops and tossed them under the tower's absolute control. Now pay attention to this power move. Yan told the complainers to forget their privileges. If they slacked off with lame excuses or picked fights with the outside warriors, he promised them some seriously painful payback. A couple of days passed, and word spread that Yeon had summoned Zhug. The poor guy never expected Yeon to legally absolutely demolish the entire Council of Elders. He was sweating bullets knowing one slip-up meant doom. Yeon casually asked if he was too busy for them. Then Yeon mentioned a question for the group. Meanwhile, Zhug was staring, barely recognizing number 28. The young guy smirked, asking if his new drip was too shocking. The whole room felt the tension. He wasn't even the official leader yet, but he strutted around like he owned the place. Zhug nervously asked his demands. Yeon grinned and said he heard Zhuge's defensive formations were basically top tier. Let's pause you, and I know this guy doesn't ask nicely. He demanded that exact formation to keep all the useless evil trash entirely locked out. Zhug panicked, claiming a main house barrier absolutely required the official leader's formal stamp of approval. He desperately added that the spell needed priceless heirlooms passed down through his family. Yeon hated excuses. He instantly struck out, dropping everyone else in the room completely flat. Absolutely terrified, Zhug screamed he would do it, glancing back at his knocked-out squad in horror. He begged to know why, and Yeon coldly revealed he already knew about his shady deal with Tang Yeon-Myeong. Zhug totally had the power to stop the Black Moon Sword Sect's attack, but he chickened out, planning to pretend it wasn't his problem. Yeon was done talking. Zhug was going to build a top-tier defense around the Tang residence or else. When the guy tried to object, Yeon instantly shut him down, calling this a massive issue. Did he forget the rules? The Tang clan repays grudges 10 times over. That's exactly why those elders met such an ugly end. He gave him 3 seconds. If he refused, Yeon swore he'd personally hunt down Zhug Jongcheon and make him pay for absolutely everything. The horrific aftermath was something Zhug could easily picture himself. At the count of 2, Zhug was screaming his surrender. He sobbed for mercy, begging Yeon to spare his precious clan. Yeon demanded quick results. Later, he finally explained why he delayed calling in his own loyal crew. Tang Yeon-Myeong awkwardly asked why the leader summoned them. Hearing that title, Yeon busted out laughing. No need for this stiff formality. That instantly chilled Tang Yeon out, and he kicked his feet on the table. Tang Yuri asked why they were called. Yeon smiled, revealing he made her dad the new general commander. He knew her father had the skills. Crushing haters was incredibly easy, but it would be super embarrassing if his praise turned out to be totally fake. If her dad started playing favorites, slacking off, or stealing money, Yeon would definitely deal with it. He tasked her with helping her old man adjust, though he was pretty confident the guy would absolutely crush it. That's where we leave it. Trust me, you and I want to see what he plans for Mirio and Aijin. Alright, stick with me on this one. Yeon-Myeong says if any real talents are getting sidelined by those dusty old elders, speak up. He wants those outcasts under his wing. Keeping the elders' loyal pets around, yeah, absolutely, no point. Aijin stays dead silent. So Yeon-Myeong just looks at him, asking if the medicine hall is completely empty of allies. Aijin hesitates. Should he actually bring up the medicine hall king? This is super personal for Yeon-Myeong. Why? Because the guys who poisoned his dad. Yep, straight out of the medicine hall king's camp. Tang Mirio panics. She thinks she heard wrong, surely not the king. Tang Yuri literally slams the table. Who dares touch the clan leader's family like that? She wants to wreck them herself. But Yeon-Myeong calmly tells Aijin to keep spilling. The medicine hall king totally isolated inside the main house. Even the mighty council of elders cannot touch his territory. They handle all the poison and medical research, making their own cash by treating rich patients. They basically fund the whole clan. Aijin's grandfather used to run it. And back then, Tang Yeon-Myeong's father visited that man every single day. After the bright sky demon lord attacked, everyone hated the hall. But Yeon-Myeong's dad always defended them. The catch, the poor guy had 0 internal energy. So if someone hits him with internal force, he cannot block it. Instant, massive internal damage. Even so, his dad kept fighting the good fight. Then things got way worse. Now pay close attention, because here is where the classic betrayal drops. Tang Il, the vice leader, insulted Yeon-Myeong's mom. Instead of saying sorry, Tang Il lost the argument and tried to throw hands. Only the grandfather stopped his attack. Because of that massive fail, Tang Il lost his spot as next leader. Yeon-Myeong connects the dots. Tang Il held a petty grudge, poisoned his dad, and eventually killed the young master's father. Then he hijacked the medicine hall. Oh, and he poisoned his own grandfather and locked him up. Tang Mirio is absolutely shocked. Being isolated is one thing, but a secret coup, that is insane. Jin explains the poison literally broke his grandfather's mind. Even if he babbled the truth, nobody would ever believe him. He spent 3 whole years in the competition, but still could not eliminate the guys who knew the dark truth. Right now, he wants to check on his grandpa, but he is just too terrified. Apologizing to the clan leader feels impossible. And picking out the hidden talents Yeon-Myeong wants from the medicine hall, even harder. Yeon-Myeong asks the real question. Why keep the grandfather alive at all? Offing him would be way easier, right? If his hunch is right, the medicine hall is hiding a secret project that the elders are totally clueless about. You know what is coming, right? An overpowered item, the 10,000-year fire cart pill, made from a lava beast. Yuri recognizes the crazy name. Mirio, meanwhile, just looks totally lost right now. Yeon-Myeong asks what this ultimate pill actually does. Turns out it is way more than just a basic energy booster. A century ago, the Lesser Lord of Blazing Sun Palace swallowed it and literally ascended to the legendary Fire Realm. That myth survived for generations. But the poison inside, absolutely brutal stuff. Eat it without purifying the poison and it is a 90% death rate. Can anyone besides his grandpa actually clear that poison out? Ijin cries and nods. The current fake leader wants to eat the purified pill and ascend. After becoming a god, he plans to ditch the clan and start his own faction. Everyone knows that spells pure rebellion. Yeon-Myeong realizes this guy wants the Fire Realm without earning it. Ijin worked with him for 3 years and never noticed a single thing. The guy hid his evil villain plan perfectly. Yeon-Myeong genuinely thanks him. Spilling all this heavy clan trauma could not have been easy. But one last question. If he kicks out the traitors and rescues the grandfather, can the medicine hall actually function again? And if the poisoned grandpa is the only issue, can they cure him? Ijin confidently says yes. He knows he is just as skilled as the fake leader. Give him a few top doctors and he will train everyone else. Yeon-Myeong loves that answer. He turns to Tang Mirio. He will listen to her sob story right after he cleans up the medicine hall. He is heading out immediately. Ijin panics. Is he really sure? He has not even visited his mother since coming back. So what do you and I take from this? True leaders never let traitors walk free. You and I know that after hearing what happened to her friend, there's zero chance she'd let him stop right now. Right before storming off, he straight up declares the entire King of Medicine Hall is about to get completely wiped off the map. Cut to the King of Medicine Hall, where the current boss just heard Yeon-Myeong's son officially took over as clan leader. He arrogantly figures his past crimes happened way before the kid was even born, so he's safe. Still, Tang Ijin hasn't come back yet, and that's making him seriously sweat. Classic villain logic, he decides his own life comes first. Taking out Ijin is easy work, but that mysterious internal pill, that's the real headache. Because to absorb it and hit the Fire Realm, he desperately needs that stubborn old man talking. But honestly, even if the elder got his sanity back, he'd never help this guy. And if he tries removing the capsule's poison himself, he'll trash the whole pill. So plan B it is. Suddenly, a massive crash interrupts him. His goons sprint in, screaming that the new clan leader is going absolutely berserk outside. Yeon-Myeong is literally tearing the hall apart while everyone begs for mercy. He asks Ijin if he found his target, but nope. Ijin searched the entire place top to bottom, and his grandfather is nowhere to be found. Furious, he screams at them to talk. The crowd just aggressively avoids eye contact and stays dead silent. Yeon-Myeong warns them not to lie to his face, letting Brigade Leader Wonjin handle things. And oh boy, he handles it fast. Now here's the part we've been waiting for. Heads literally hit the floor. Yeon-Myeong glares at them, warning nobody else to test him. They can play dumb all they want, but he only needs one single coward to confess. Bingo. Someone spills that the former leader is locked away in Nok. Hearing that terrifying name, Ijin immediately panics. Nok is a freezing isolation ward for infected patients, basically a death trap. Yeon-Myeong casually says they're going straight in. He orders Brigade Bango to clear the area and guard the entrance while the traitors keep pathetically begging. Bango shows them the exact same mercy they showed the grandfather Zero. Entering, Yeon-Myeong realizes this underground dungeon is terrifyingly deep. Ijin points out the heavy doors, praying his grandfather is still breathing, terrified they might be way too late. But Yeon-Myeong already sensed his aura. He tells Ijin to chill out, target located. Ijin sprints to the cell, screaming for his grandpa. Yeon-Myeong just tells him to back up and easily slices the metal bars open. Seeing his grandfather completely battered and broken, Ijin instantly bursts into tears. The old man didn't look like a corpse when he left for the tournament. Yeon-Myeong calmly asks what exact poisons they used. Ijin chokes out, subjugative poison and thunder madness poison. That second one literally fries your brain. It's designed to make you insane, not dead. Plus, if too much time passes, it's basically incurable. But Yeon-Myeong doesn't look worried at all. You and I know he's overpowered, right? To him it's just basic poison. He grabs the elder and unleashes universal poison absorption, sucking every single drop of toxic garbage right out of him. Ijin's face instantly lights up as his grandfather's hand twitches. Yeon-Myeong carefully micromanages the energy, pulling just the poison so he doesn't accidentally vaporize the frail old man. The elder's breathing stabilizes and healthy color floods back into his face. Once he's looking human again, Yeon-Myeong has Ijin sit him up. Weakly, the old man asks where he is. Opening his eyes, he recognizes Ijin immediately. But looking at the young clan leader, he completely mistakes him for his dad. After a quick lore dump, it clicks. His son's kid is the new clan boss, and he came to save him just because of the old bond with his father. Crying his eyes out, the elder is deeply moved that the kid who never even met his dad is standing right here, literally saving his life. He just wishes the father was still around to see what an absolute beast his son became. Despite being frail, he swears to dedicate the rest of his life to serving him. Young Myeong agrees, tossing his badass cloak over the old man to block the freezing cold, announcing it's time to officially put this new leadership in order. Then they step right out to face the panicked crowd. The fake boss of the medicine hall is absolutely stunned the old man is walking. He desperately screams at the clan leader for being so brutal to his members. He yells that the king of medicine hall literally funds the entire Tang clan. Young Myeong just smirks, asking if he's seriously still acting after getting completely exposed. He casually notes those make for great last words. He turns to the elder, asking if he wants to drop any final insults on this clown. The elder just shakes his head. Cool. Young Myeong promises to make this extremely fast. This fake leader tries to sprint away like a coward, but his body completely locks up after taking one step. Young Myeong reveals it's heart splitter poison crafted by Ijin himself, and trust me, you're going to love watching Ijin permanently replace him. Stick with me, he probably could not even hear anymore. The former leader's lackeys totally panicked and scattered, but the Banhui brigade cleaned house fast. After wrapping up that utter mess, Young Myeong casually walked off with Ijin and his grandfather. Word spread like absolute wildfire. The untouchable king of Medicine Hall had finally crashed down. The clan gossiped that killing their moneymaker was a massive blunder. Meanwhile, someone asked our main character if he was finally going to consume that epic pill. With dangerous creeps like Tengu lurking around, he definitely could not leave top-tier loot unguarded. Young Myeong politely said thanks, keeping it safe for later. They warned him that if he was holding on to it, that thing needed seriously secure storage. Just look at it. The toxic aura radiating off it was literally visible to everyone. Tossing such legendary loot would be absolute madness. Even from a distance, that brutal fire poison from a literal lava monster was scorching. But honestly, it was basically a joke compared to that demonic fire dragon he had fought. He knew perfectly well if any regular person touched this raw, their insides would instantly melt. This stuff was way too potent. He decided to study its crazy properties, first focusing on the 10 poisons. Now, watch closely, things get interesting here. He was feeling the spirit power when a sudden knock broke his concentration. A familiar voice called out it was his mom asking to step inside. He immediately said yes, and the door swung open, finally reuniting them. She honestly never imagined stepping foot in there again. Bursting with pride, she called herself incredibly lucky to have raised him. He smiled, reminding her this space was always hers, welcoming her back whenever she pleased. Gazing at her, he realized she had not aged a bit. Still, he felt guilty about the endless stress he caused. Pulling him into a massive, tearful hug, she celebrated his safe return. Grinning, he casually assured her he was totally fine. He was her kid after all. His past life, total opposite. Nobody missed him, nobody cried when he faced death, and absolutely nobody was there to share his final victories. That solo run was just packed with bitter regret. Flashbacks hit hard. He remembered being forced to evacuate her, surrounded by familiar faces, sobbing their eyes out. That very same box was sitting in his hands right now. He happily handed it over as a special gift. The second she popped the lid, her jaw dropped. A 10,000-year Fireclaw internal pill. She totally knew its insane value. A classic mom move. She told him to eat it himself to guarantee the clan's freedom. He just laughed, explaining the inner pill was completely useless for his current stats, begging her to take it. She was super confused. Useless how? He simply explained that a low-tier item like that literally could not boost him anymore. Grabbing her hand, he flashed his true aura. He had already hit the fire realm. She was absolutely mind-blown and beyond ecstatic. That was a massive win worth partying over. He softly told her to live a long, healthy life for both her and his dad. He asked her to stick around and witness his journey, pushing the epic pill back into her hands. The magical energy was leaking, so they needed to move fast. Smiling brightly, she finally accepted the incredibly thoughtful gift from her amazing son. Then, with a sly look, she asked if he remembered her epic nickname from the good old days. Back then, Sichuan's greatest beauty, the poisonous phoenix. And just like that, she unleashed a completely terrifying wave of hidden power. She chuckled, explaining that the poisonous phoenix title was strictly reserved for the clan's absolute top-tier prodigies. You and I definitely did not see that coming, she laughed, bragging that she could still totally catch her overpowered son off guard. Flexing her aura, she swallowed the inner pill and immediately started meditating. Our main character was just standing there, completely speechless. His mom had been secretly grinding levels and hiding this insane strength the entire time. In the fire realm, you can sense a pin drop, making stealth nearly impossible. Yet somehow this woman completely masked her aura from a literal master. One scan confirmed it. She was already chilling at the exact same level he had been before his massive power-up. If Mom could shatter her limits, trouble was brewing. Actually, absorbing the inner pill started off super simple. She pulled the spiritual energy straight into her core, looping the process to make that raw power entirely her own. But panic set in the pill's spirit was evaporating way too fast. She was losing the buff and had zero clue how to stop it. It was going to vanish before hitting 50%. Right then, a warm hand gently grabbed her shaking shoulder. Her son stepped up. He whispered he would guide her, because sitting around just overthinking never triggers true cultivation enlightenment. He coached her to absorb her surroundings. Study the flow. Process it deeply. And focus that raw energy down. That was the true path to enlightenment. Giving her a helpful push, she suddenly felt his massive blazing energy. She felt his energy fuse with the pill, finally unlocking the Tang Clan's legendary poison technique. Trust me, you will want to see what happens next. Spirituality was literally just raw energy. Let's dive right into this wild method. Instead of absorbing power slowly, she shaped it into something familiar and swallowed it whole. Skipping the entire long cultivation process, absolutely broken and genius. With the energy reshaped, she pulled it all straight back inside. Honestly, having an overpowered son definitely helps. His hands rested on her shoulders, feeling the exact crazy moment. She completely broke through and entered the legendary Fire Realm tier. Meanwhile, over at the Tower of Stealth and Poison, the top elders gathered. Half of them were visibly ticked off, waking up early just to sit around and wait. One cranky elder complained to the King of Darkness, whining about how long the young leader was making them wait. A direct summons or not, their patience was seriously running out. The King of Darkness, our young clan leader's uncle, played peacekeeper. He told the grumpy old men to chill, he would arrive soon. Right on cue, a message arrived. The leader was approaching. Instantly, the entire room went dead silent. Young Yeon-Myeong walked in casually, thanking everyone for waking up early. He announced he brought them here for some major clan-shifting news. One elder immediately demanded answers. Yeon-Myeong dropped the bomb. They needed an interim leader until he officially came of age, and nope, it wasn't going to be any of them. Now pay attention. If not them, who you're going to want to see who walks in next. Everyone stared, totally confused. But the King of Darkness recognized her instantly. It was the legendary Poison Phoenix. Every single elder in the room looked absolutely horrified. Decades had passed. How on earth was she standing there? Her son, the clan leader, loudly declared that absolutely nobody was more qualified for this role. Framed for the Ma Guangchuan invasion 10 years ago, she lost her leadership. Now she was back to clean house, proudly reintroducing herself as the one and only Tang Yeon-Myeong. Night before this epic mic drop, she was just thrilled about hitting the Fire Realm, but getting all that toxic sludge forcefully purged from her body, yeah, not a fan, felt so gross she accidentally lost her temper at a servant. Honestly, handling this ridiculous new level of raw power was still a huge adjustment. She would get used to it eventually. Plus, reaching the Fire Realm finally helped her understand her insane son. Rumor had it only the scary boss of the Black Death Alliance ever hit that godly level. Now, after literally years in the dark, she felt she could finally have a real talk with him. He cheered for her big win. She thanked him, knowing it was his doing, and told him to grab a seat. They swapped old stories, just soaking in a rare, totally peaceful moment. Then came the big question. How did he reach the Fire Realm? He wanted to be honest, but his cheat code literally came from past life memories. So he used the recent tournament as a convenient cover story, blaming his power-up on some poison. When she recalled the prize was the deadly dragonfire poison, he casually admitted he drank the whole thing. She scolded him for being absolutely reckless. He just grinned, showing off that he was perfectly fine. I know what you're thinking, right? He claimed. Absorbing the poison gave him instant enlightenment to the Fire Realm. She wasn't entirely buying that wild logic either. Then she brought up another huge issue. It was about her bath servant. The guy had blabbed about him literally tearing down the King of Medicine Hall. Since this mess directly involved his late father, honesty was the best policy. He confessed her feeling was right. Over some tea, he casually spilled every single detail. She completely grasped the mess, admitting she already suspected the worst. She had her doubts for years and knew poor Yeon-Myeong must have suffered through pure hell. Then she asked him for one major favor. Ever since losing her husband, she practically lived as a ghost, totally paranoid about losing her one and only son next. But she definitely hadn't been sitting idle. With his permission, no enemy would ever dare target that seat again. She wanted to step up and defend it personally. Jumping back to the present, she strolled into the hall. Every single eye locked onto her, just like the good old days. Her brother, the King of Darkness, hyped beyond belief to see her. Her son politely told the entire room to formally congratulate his mother, Tang Yeon-Myeong. Then he loudly announced she was taking over the Tang Clan. Q1 very shocked elder, freaking out about her serving as the interim leader, thanked them for showing up, promising to only hold the seat until the real boss was ready. Why? Because that true leader personally gave her the job. Her first goal, rebuilding the clan's totally wrecked foundation. With that power move, the meeting kicked off. From then on, Tang Yeon-Myeong went completely bold. He rebranded the ruined King of Medicine Hall. Tang Hoyol became a healer with his grandson. Yuri's dad became general manager, immediately ordering a massive, full-scale investigation into Gazan. Tang Ji-hyuk got fired from heading the Tower of Stealth and Poison. Anyone else abusing their power, kicked straight out of the clan, elder status didn't even matter. All this crazy cleanup happened in mere days. He couldn't help but feel incredibly proud of his badass mom. Thanks to her iron fist, the clan's massive internal drama was solved. Where do you and I go from here? He wanted peace with mom, but things just kept changing. Stick with me here. His trusted guards and the Tang clan are finally uniting behind him. Elsewhere, someone requested an audience with the boss. He wanted to talk about Mak In-juk. That guy was practically a legend for his raw physical power. Yo So-chong, the transforming heart sect leader, had one simple demand. Wipe them completely out before the Tang clan could reclaim their legendary status. But Yu Gil-jun, the big boss of the Black Death Alliance, just scoffed. Why bother? She argued that Mak In-juk was a massive headache. Even after strict warnings to leave the Tang clan alone for future plans, he never listened. Instead, he went totally rogue and attacked them anyway, completely disrespecting the boss's direct orders. Honestly, getting killed was practically a favor. If that guy had come back alive, the boss would have handed him a way worse punishment anyway. Meanwhile, Yeon-Myeong stared at his estate, realizing just how many lives were now resting completely on his shoulders. Back in the day, just surviving was a struggle because of the frail body he was born with. But now he leveled up hard to stop anyone from using his family. Whether it was the Black Death Alliance or some random villains, nobody was laying a finger on the Tang clan. Over at the Black Death base, rumors spread fast. The Tang clan had a new boss. Now pay attention here. The guy who took down Mak In-juk is no joke, and that changes the whole game. The boss ordered an official letter sent straight to Sichuan. He wanted the entire clan gathered, and the new Tang leader was getting a front-row invite. Later on, Yeon-Myeong thanked his mom for cleaning up the clan's internal mess so perfectly. She confessed that stepping back into power was super nerve-wracking. He praised her hard work, but admitted one tiny detail was still bugging him. Why did she hide her true power level back then? She smiled, guessing he only noticed because he had pulled the exact same trick. He called her energy control absolute top tier, but still asked why she played weak. She explained it was way more than just hiding power. This was an exclusive Tang clan secret art called the Vein Concealment Seal. She wanted him to learn this stealth technique too. When he asked why he would even bother, she sighed and said the truth was pretty complicated. The creator was an ancient Tang ancestor, so she had to drop some serious lore. Long ago, a deadly plague ripped through a Sichuan village. No famine yet, people were dropping like flies. Panicking, they burned the bodies with 0 funerals. Soon, the whole town was infected and doomed except for a single survivor. A 10-year-old boy remained untouched. Logic went right out the window. To those dying villagers, this perfectly healthy kid looked like a cursed demon who brought the plague upon them. Kicked out and homeless, he hid shivering in a dark cave to escape the rain. He survived by swiping offerings left at the shrine, just barely scraping by. But by the 3rd day, not a single person came to the shrine anymore. Everyone else was gone. He was totally alone, wondering why he survived while they didn't. But his peaceful thinking time was brutally cut short. Out of nowhere, a shady group tracked him down, spotting his insane natural resistance to poison. These guys were the poisonous Moon Shadow Clan, basically the most ruthless assassins in Muram. They literally kidnapped folks to brainwash into killing tools. To prevent escapes, they fed their victims poison, handing out antidotes on a strict timer. The boy became a lethal assassin, watching friends drop whenever meds arrived late. I know you're thinking what I'm thinking. Yep, those same assassins actually caused the plague in his village. He finally realized he was never cursed at all. From that second on, he trained like a madman. Whatever the suicide mission, he nailed it perfectly. He even assassinated top-tier masters, leaving the underworld completely shocked. His crazy kill streak made him one of the 5 great annihilators. The boss offered him any reward he wanted, but the guy literally asked for nothing. Clashing with so many elite martial artists had already pushed his stats to maximum. Tweaking the clan's martial arts, he invented his own broken ultimate move, the first storm of 10,000 heavenly blossoms. Then, in one single night, the poisonous Moon Shadow Clan disappeared forever. His mom explained that his descendants settled in Sichuan, founding today's famous Tang Clan. Even now, the martial world fears him as the invisible guest. Classic anime logic. Yeon-Myeong fake-slept, totally bored by the lore. His mom quickly pinched his cheeks to force him awake. Rubbing his face, he admitted he'd never heard that tale. She stressed it was super important because it directly explained the Vein Concealment Seal. That poison clan had tons of Fire Realm masters, including the Annihilators and their terrifying boss. He revealed he was actually only half right about how the 10,000 Heavenly Blossoms worked. It wasn't just throwing hidden weapons, it was a masterclass technique in controlling pure energy. That definitely caught his attention. Wait, pure energy, not steel. Exactly, because in Fire Realm battles, it's just raw aura clashing against aura. Normal hidden weapons can never pierce the thick, protective aura of a Fire Realm master. So what do you and I take from this? Simple. Endless weapons mean nothing without energy. Still, keeping that much aura active constantly sounds absolutely exhausting, right? Alright, stick with me. You and I are about to watch our guy learn the legendary vein concealment seal. The trick is actually pretty simple. He just has to compress his internal energy into one of the 12 main meridians. This stops the normal flow and wraps it tight in true energy. It totally fakes out even top-tier Fire Realm masters, but experts can still bust through that trick. So the true energy twists together, forming an absolute tank of a shield around his entire body. They call this the Dragon Scale Shield. Way tougher than normal defense aura, feeling just like literal dragon armor. Hearing this, he finally realizes what a real dragon is. His mom keeps explaining the details. But this crazy technique isn't just about defense or cleansing energy. If you unseal the power stored in those meridians over the years, boom, you get a temporary boost of 10 times your normal strength. Yeon-Myeong immediately asks if the storm of 10,000 heavenly blossoms requires popping that exact seal first. She nods. Parts of the method survived alongside the vein concealment seal, but huge chunks were totally lost to time. The verbal instructions completely vanished when the two elders suddenly dropped dead. Even so, she totally believes her son can master the complete storm technique. She smiles, incredibly proud of him. And honestly, the son of the poisonous phoenix can basically master anything right, so he accepts the seal. Though secretly, this guy still thinks drinking poison is the much faster shortcut. What normal people fear as deadly poison is literally a miracle drug to him. He's about to ask Ijin for some when a visitor interrupts. But here is where it gets wild. Watch closely. Tang Yeon-Myeong suddenly bursts into the room sobbing and begging for help. Worried, he asks what happened. Through tears, she screams that her little sister is going to die. He says they need a doctor immediately. But Yeon-Myeong shakes her head. They've already brought in the best doctors around. Normal medicine is useless here. He asks what she wants him to do, wondering if it's some kind of internal injury. She cries that the Nine Yin has shredded her sister's meridians, leaving her in an absolutely fatal state. Up in the northern sea, Ice Palace people master ice arts. But those who fail end up catching these deadly freezing conditions. He blinks, asking if her family is from that frozen region. He remembers descendants of the Ice Palace settling in Sichuan. Turns out one of them married into the Tang Clan, when they were the absolute strongest faction, but the Tang Clan only cares about poison and hidden weapons, so all that ice art knowledge completely ignored and forgotten. Their ancestral ice techniques were lost generations ago, so her sister's brutal condition is just treated as an incurable family curse. Yeon-Myeong nods. He gets it. Right then, they finally arrive at her home. Panicking Yeon-Myeong says her sister's condition somehow got even worse during the ride over. You and I both feel that panic, right? The poor girl is literally turning into solid ice. The room is so freezing cold, Yeon-Myeong realizes it's absolutely catastrophic. He looks Yeon-Myeong dead in the eye. He cannot promise her sister will survive this. This completely terrifies her. He explains her sister fought the cold using her base energy, but she just hit her absolute limit. Now her body has shut down, forcing all remaining energy deep into her veins. Yeon-Myeong begs for any cure. He says there's one single option left. Force the cold completely out. If the girl can't endure the pain or the cold overwhelms her during the process, she dies anyway. He wants to help, but this is his friend's blood. He can't take that massive risk lightly, so he leaves the final choice to Yeon-Myeong. Keep looking for doctors or trust him completely. Crying, she admits they've already tried literally every other method out there. She refuses to give up now. Knowing the danger, taking a heavy breath, he declares the treatment starts now. He warns things are going to get awkward. Clothes block energy flow, so they have to come off. A little embarrassment beats death. He starts drawing the freezing yin energy out from her 9 meridians, hitting the heart, lungs, and limbs, one agonizing spot at a time. He quickly clears out the cold above her neck and starts working his way down. One sensitive spot makes him pause, but he can't stop now. He presses his fingers in and aggressively pulls the cold out. The icy resistance fights back hard. Yeon-Myeong panics, thinking he's going to freeze to death too, but he insists he's totally fine. He tries pulling the yin energy from her upper meridians, but this intense cold has pushed way past human limits. If this keeps up, he's a goner. But then it hits him, if this was just a deadly poison, it'd be easy. Makes you think, right, in this world, medicine and deadly poison are exactly the same thing. Let's jump straight into this crazy logic. The dose changes everything. Even pure yang energy, like dragonfire poison or the 10,000-year fire carp, can easily become deadly. So, this bone-chilling cold, it could totally be treated just like a poison. So he places his hand right on the girl's stomach and fires up his poison purification technique. It actually starts absorbing the freezing energy. Just look at that confident smirk, it's working. The cold fights back like crazy once it's cornered. But hey, if it acts like poison, he can just eat it up. Slowly, the freezing energy inside her finally starts fading away. Her eyes flutter open. And yep, she instantly realizes she's barely dressed with some totally random guy resting his hand on her stomach. Tang Yeon-Myeong is completely overwhelmed. Awkward situation aside, her little sister is actually awake again. The sheer joy just takes over. She thought her sister was a goner. Seeing each other alive and well, the two of them just totally break down crying. While he clears out the very last bit of frost, Yeon-Myeong explains that this guy is her literal savior. Yeon-Myeong gets a bit protective, asking how much longer he needs to touch her. But the sister just tells him to stay focused and finish. He's honestly amazed right now. This technique is straight up acting like a miracle cure. There's so much wild energy swirling around him that a normal person would explode. Instead, he uses this golden chance to absorb that cold energy and force his blocked meridians open. One meridian fills up with pure internal energy. And as more pop open, he just keeps absorbing. Boom, 4 whole meridians opened. Way past anything he actually expected to pull off. His internal energy basically quadruples. The rapid growth finally slows down, but you can't complain about those epic gains. He figures he'll just chug some poison later to finish up. He opens his eyes and oh boy. Both sisters are staring hard while his hand is still right there. Blushing like crazy, she tells him not to panic. Yeon-Myeong explained the whole healing process, and she is endlessly grateful. Now watch this part. Their dad suddenly rushes right in. He takes one look at his daughters, a random guy, and the fact that one is barely dressed. Absolute rage. He challenges our MC to a brawl on the spot. Luckily, they clear the air fast, explaining this young master just pulled his daughter back from death. Mortified by his own angry reaction, the dad apologizes, saying he literally has no words to thank him properly. Crying, he explains his past. He actually settled down here after falling hard for a Tang Clan woman while managing his trades. His wife passed away from a brutal sickness. He drained his entire fortune trying to cure his daughter, but nothing ever worked. So right now, he's completely overjoyed that this young hero stepped in and worked a miracle. He swears total loyalty if the leader ever calls he's there. Young Yang is a bit stressed about the trade situation but decides to just worry about that later. As our guy heads for the door, someone calls out. He turns around to see the young woman, thankfully, fully dressed, now standing with Yeon-Myeong. She thanks him again for the save, swearing her family will never ever forget this massive favor. Young Yang turns bright red, not knowing how to react. Tang Yeon-Myeong is incredibly grateful for the rescue. Both sisters sweetly tell him to stay safe and definitely come back to visit. She notices he's acting super flustered. She doesn't get it at all since the healing went perfectly. The others start teasing him, joking that maybe he enjoyed the view a little too much. The sister turns red instantly, frantically denying it, saying he wouldn't look at her like that. But Tang Yeon-Myeong points out that his reaction is totally normal. Any normal guy would probably act exactly the same way. After all, she brags her little sister is absolutely stunning. Even if he tries hiding it, it's written all over his face. Leaving in a great mood, his mind keeps drifting back to what her dad said about starting a family. We both see where this is going. He's already picturing marriage and kids. The guy is straight up imagining grandchildren and growing old with a stunning wife. Just thinking about it gets him sweating. For the very first time, he pictures a perfectly normal, happy life. He seriously hopes he gets another chance to see her again. But here's the catch from her dad's story. The clan is declining and the Black Death Alliance runs everything, barely ever entering the city limits. That heavy-hitting alliance, led by Yugul Jun, somehow still hasn't taken down the Demon Lord. As long as they stay in Sichuan, an all-out clash is just unavoidable. Meanwhile, over at the Black Death Alliance scouts report the Tang Clan is growing way too fast. The woman listening, just chilling, eating an apple, acting like it's totally not her problem. But the boss's orders are absolute. Hallmaster Simua and the Ascendant Phoenix sect leader Yaninji both agree. It's much smarter to just lay low until his rage finally cools off. Highly annoyed, she chucks her apple, nearly hitting the messenger. She knows these two leaders are fast approaching the Fire Realm tier. Trust me, you and I are about to see one massive collision. Because at her current tier, getting solo revenge on Ma Chen-hu is completely impossible. Let us jump right in because this crazy lady has a new plan, sending a deadly letter straight to the Tang family. Following the leader's exact orders, she decides to invite their whole clan to the next meeting. Sitting still was not an option. Besides, Ma Chen-hu's dying screams were literally still ringing inside her head. Totally normal, right? She figures her absolute rage will only vanish when the Tang clan is wiped off the map. Meanwhile, her poor messenger is practically shaking. He begs for mercy, but splat, she kills him anyway. Next on her hit list, the Tang clan leader. Meanwhile, Moon Chan's family is having a massive panic attack over losing all their power. The second elder, Tang Myeong-shin, loudly complains about being the absolute scapegoat here. He glares right at the former Poison King Tang Jayak, who honestly has zero time for this drama. The second elder totally blames young Moon Chan for picking fights with ridiculously overpowered enemies. Thanks to him, his dad's life work is ruined. But Moon Chan just thinks his uncle is a giant coward hiding from the leader. He just wants his arm fixed and some sweet revenge. The elders do the math and realize holding onto power is a lost cause. Their grand solution, just pack up and ditch the clan. Now pay attention here. Our young leader strolls right into the clan's ultimate poison storage, basically their deadliest vault. This place used to be the third elder's job, but after that guy completely messed up, our boy took over the keys. Right outside the poison hall, a nervous guard tries handing him a little safety gadget. A literal poison-repelling pearl to block the toxic fumes. You just pop it in your mouth and boom, instant air filter. He says no thanks, even though the guard insists the third elder and others literally sucked on it daily. Gross, right? Even if it is washed, our young master passes bragging that poison cannot even touch him. The guard keeps nagging him about it, so it is officially lesson time. He orders the doors opened and steps inside. The whole place is perfectly preserved, mostly because the air is pure toxic gas. Immediately he gets why that guard was freaking out earlier. A normal dude would drop dead instantly. But with his poison-refining heart technique, this deadly gas feels like a fresh ocean breeze. Plus, he can literally feel his inner energy recharging. He's basically breathing in top-tier toxins, though clan rules forbid using all 10 poisons. If the recipe is still around, maybe he will just force Ijin to craft it. But wait, something feels totally off. The airflow here is completely warped. It smells like a hidden formation, which is super weird, because the Jaegul clan does not usually hide things in poison rooms. Let us check this out together. Going deeper, he actually finds a passage covered in sealed forbidden talismans. This is no Jaegul clan trap. It is definitely mage work. Back in his past life, his old master actually knew some. His master chased sword mastery, just like mages chased magic, everyone desperately trying to break human limits and become immortal. He even remembers getting chucked into a mage formation for basic training, completely surrounded by bizarre, unnameable mutant beasts. Mages are incredibly selfish, only lifting a finger if something seriously interests them. But why is there magic inside the Tang clan? Those magic nerds only care about demons and chasing immortality. He once asked his master how to befriend them. The advice just beat them up every single day for zero reason. Eventually, they beg for a chat. But honestly, he doubts the Tang clan used the daily beatdown method, which means the clan must be hiding something insanely powerful just to catch a greedy mage's attention. He originally just wanted the 10 poisons recipe for a power boost, but this way cooler. So in he goes. The moment he enters, something inside spots him. It instantly realizes this is absolutely no quiet visitor. It lost track of time long ago, but if enough years have passed, it is desperate to be freed. Tang Yeon-Myeong figures with security this insane he might have just stumbled on the Tang clan's lost 10 poisons. But this talisman-wrapped jar radiates pure danger. What kind of poison needs this much lockdown? Touching it triggers a massive magical rebound. Breaking this is no joke. He has to slice every single talisman with absolute pinpoint perfection, so he gets to work meticulously slicing the seals away one by one. Sweating bullets, his venomous vein technique rapidly drains his inner energy. Usually one hit does the trick. But without those talismans, the toxic aura inside just explodes in density. Hand resting right on the lid, he finally prepares to uncover whatever nightmare is inside. Trust me, you are gonna want to see this. Whatever is inside just realized it is finally free. Let's jump right in. The thing bursts out screaming about freedom. But watch closely, our guy isn't letting this catch get away. He's going straight for it. It moved lightning fast. He knew he had to hit first, gathering raw energy tight around his arm. An energy snake formed, praising his crazy reflexes. It actually liked his fighting spirit. For freeing it, it promised a painless death. Calling him a fool, the beast revealed its true identity, the absolute nightmare known as the white-horned blue snake. He casually asked what that even was. The snake completely stunned. Instantly, he blocked the venom from hitting his vitals. She warned him she could melt his entire arm, changing her mind about liking his energy. Then it hit her. He was absorbing her poison. Freaking out, she demanded to know his connection to the legendary wandering saint. He casually mentioned the saint was his ancestor. Immediately, the mighty snake panicked and begged him to stop absorbing her. At this rate, she'd vanish completely. Yeon-Myeong just smirked. Why should he stop? She only acting nice because she was losing. He fully planned to drain every last drop. Seeing he was dead serious about destroying her, she screamed for him to wait. She had a massive offer. A literal deal. Spare her and she'd become his guardian spirit. She just wanted out of that cursed seal. Yeon-Myeong had no idea what that meant. The snake quickly explained that having her around would be a huge power boost. He pointed out his internal energy was already spiking just from her venom. A total win-win. Honestly, Yeon-Myeong couldn't even argue. Now listen closely. This venom was leagues above the 10,000-year fire carp, or even the dragonfire poison. Keeping her around meant an endless supply of top-tier poison whenever he wanted. Way smarter than using it all up today. But still, he played hard to get, saying he didn't spare enemies. He could just find good poison anywhere else. Snake went into full panic mode, crying about spending hundreds of years staring at a boring wall. Acting all cute, she promised to be the best guardian spirit ever. She swore they'd make an awesome team. Finally giving in, Yeon-Myeong agreed to trust her just this once. She cheered, but he laid down one absolute rule: try anything funny, and he would wipe her from existence. She agreed instantly, promising to be perfectly well behaved without any trouble. Since he knew zero about spirits, Yeon-Myeong asked how this worked. The snake assured him it was super easy to do. It was a spiritual binding seal. All he had to do was hold her, and her soul would link directly to his own. She flopped right into his hand and he sealed the bond. Meanwhile, the guards outside were sweating bullets, terrified everyone inside was dead. They imagined the brutal punishments waiting for them, but nobody dared enter without orders. Finally, one brave guy grabbed a pearl. He'd just face the consequences later. Biting down on it and masking his face, he rushed inside. But what he found was Yeon-Myeong completely glowing with intense radiant light. We both know what's happening. The guards yelled as everything violently shook. Number 8 yelled, asking if the boss was safe and what that crazy sound was. Yeon-Myeong quickly realized his new spirit's dragon-scale aura was leaking out. This wasn't normal at all. The snake's evolution had completely flooded his 12 meridians. Now he had to keep that insane power hidden, especially with all eyes glued to him. His new spirit scoffed, asking why he even cared about these weaklings. The wandering saint never bothered hiding his true power. In response, Yeon-Myeong just flicked her hard to teach her some basic manners. Rubbing her head, she explained nobody could see her anyway unless he gave permission, especially with his aura. He just sighed, calling her super annoying. He really just wanted a peaceful, normal life this time. Hearing that the spirit looked at him like he had gone completely crazy, she honestly doubted he could stay quiet. There had to be a huge reason he got the wandering saint's skills exactly like his famous ancestor. Yeon-Myeong suddenly asked if she had been enslaved before. She clearly hated the topic, but quietly admitted she was basically worked to death back then. Some dark sorcerer had trapped and sealed her away. Staring at Yeon-Myeong, she felt a weird connection between him and that old mage. Tons of sorcerers hunted her kind for power, but his ancestor was one of the few who actually helped them out. Yeon-Myeong guessed his ancestor was probably just like his old master. He actually started wondering if she was right about some greater destiny. He wasn't totally sure, but it honestly made a lot of sense. Suddenly, a warrior burst in yelling that they had to move. The evil faction just launched a massive attack near the Sichuan main house. We see Young-seo carrying his severely wounded master, completely surrounded by multiple enemy fighters. The riders circled them, asking why Orthodox men were here. Trust me, you'll want to see what's next. Stick with me here because this master just told his disciple to run and leave him behind. But the kid knew the truth. They were staring down hundreds of evil faction killers led by Palace Lord Jang Tichin. The pursuers tracked them to Chengdu, figuring out they wanted the Tang clan's help. The bounty was huge. Hand them over and they would be rewarded with top-tier martial arts techniques. Perfect timing. The Tang clan leader suddenly showed up with his squad. Seeing the master and disciple wearing yellow, they immediately guessed they were righteous faction members, which meant the other guys were definitely the bad guys. The Tang squad decided to hear the righteous duo out. Maybe they were actual guests. Looking around, the disciple realized these tough guards were actually stepping in to help. Seeing the heavily bleeding master, one warrior immediately ordered everyone to back up. Then the brigade leader stepped up, offering to treat the wounded master. Yeon-seo panicked, asking if they should help fight off the 200 enemies. But the brigade leader just smiled, thanked him, and said not to worry at all. He told the kid to just stand back and watch. Meanwhile, an evil faction thug glared at the young leader, screaming at him for blocking their way. Big mistake. They told him this was the guy who dominated the tournament to become the new Tang clan leader. Now watch this closely. The thug actually laughed, mocking the new leader for looking like a pretty boy. Is he seriously going to fight? To the bad guys, that confidence looked like pure arrogance. He screamed that they were only alive because of his boss's mercy. But Yeon-Myeong just smiled coldly. They picked this fight, so complaining was off the table. And then bam, thugs started dropping like flies. Yeon-Myeong had already unleashed an absolute storm of hidden needles. The Tang members hyped him up, shouting for zero mercy. This enemy squad was about to get completely wiped. Pulling out even more needles, Yeon-Myeong promised to destroy them completely. The enemy captain hit the dirt with a needle right in his skull. The rest just watched in absolute horror as the poison took over. Yeon-Myeong aimed another deadly volley. Seconds later, the steel rain shredded the rest of the group. The few survivors were completely losing their minds. Suddenly, Yeon-Myeong realized he attacked too fast to apply poison. But his guardian spirit chimed in. It literally did not matter. His natural poison had already coated the needles. Honestly, almost nobody in the world could survive a hit. Glancing at the spirit, he grinned. This thing was way more overpowered than he thought. Meanwhile, Hyeonseo watched the young leader in pure shock. Everyone else was totally speechless. The enemy forces had been erased in seconds. I know what you're thinking. A declining clan. Yeah, right. Nobody mentioned they had an absolute monster like this. The remaining enemies nervously tried to regroup. They coped, saying it was just one guy. Even a Fire Realm master could not spam an ultimate attack like that forever, so they ordered a full charge to take him down. One guy rushed in screaming that the leader was dead meat. Swinging his sword, he mocked the kid's confidence. But oh man, he regretted that instantly. Yeon-Myeong literally caught the blade barehanded and snapped it. He smiled, realizing his dragon scale technique worked perfectly. The enemy just froze, completely terrified by this barehand block. A second later, the shattered blade pieces exploded outward like a deadly storm of 10,000 celestial blossoms. Hyunseo had totally bought the rumors that the Tang Clan was weak. He was so wrong. Their power was still absolutely terrifying. He realized that if they teamed up against the Black Death Alliance exactly like Sybak planned, they might actually win. Someone finally noticed the disciple just standing there frozen. But he was just completely mesmerized by the young master's insane strength. The new clan leader calmly said they would chat at the main estate later. Right then, Hyunseo realized one undeniable truth. Making an enemy out of the Tang Clan would be pure suicide. Let's rewind a few days. On the edge of Sichuan, the duo was eating at a tiny inn. That is when Hyunseo noticed Sybak acting super weird. He was sweating totally tense. Suddenly, the boss of the Black Death Alliance strolled right in, casually mentioning how much he loved the vibe there. Hyunseo felt his heart drop. The guy was standing right beside him and his presence was completely undetectable. That kind of stealth meant absolute monster-level strength. When he asked for a name, Sybak whispered a warning this guy was from the Yu clan. Apologizing with a fake smile, the boss asked why two combined sect fighters were chilling in his personal territory. Crazy right, Hyunseo only picked this rundown spot to actively dodge the unorthodox factions. The leader leaned in, asking if they had secret business with his alliance. Seeing a Fire Realm expert made him think things were getting serious. Sybak firmly denied having any alliance business, then boldly asked if the boss came alone. The villain smirked, asking why that mattered. If Sybak was feeling brave, they could just throw down and settle things right there in the inn. Sybak coldly fired back that, believe it or not, he had easily lived twice as long as this cocky kid. The boss just laughed, asking if the old man wanted to pay respects. Trust me, you and I are going to want to see how this explodes. Let's jump right into this. He was genuinely planning to fight, which the alliance leader found completely arrogant. Tom Cheng bragged about crushing everyone with his bare hands 10 long years ago. If throwing hands was all, Sybak understood they could take this outside and finish it fast. Hyunseo worried, but honestly, he could not just watch. He yelled for everyone to step back. Time to show this arrogant punk the joint sect's true martial arts. And just like that, he clashed right against the Black Death Alliance leader. Yeon-Myeong instantly realized this battle was on a whole different level. The backup finally showed up. Nobody dared to breathe wrong around the Black Death Alliance leader as he took his stance. Sybak barked at everyone to stay back. Meanwhile, the alliance leader looked completely bored. Hyunseo said the speed was absolutely unreal, pure blur. But that sword art packed with massive internal energy, no joke. It was a genius move. Bouncing internal energy around to completely deflect an enemy's strike. Time and time again, Hyunseo totally lost track of these two Fire Realm monsters clashing. Eventually, he just gave up and watched the Tang Clan leader. The fight was way too fast anyway. Then the alliance leader literally mocked Sybak, asking if that was really his best, totally insulting his energy flexing. Sybak snapped back, ready to unleash his max level. He powered up the joint sect's ultimate move, the Demon Sword technique. Sybak pushed relentlessly. For a split second, it really looked like he might actually win. Now, watch closely. You and I can clearly see Sybak was the only one attacking. The alliance leader blocked every single strike at the absolute last microsecond. He was just testing him, confident of victory. Sybak unleashed the Demon Sword. The leader just laughed in his face. Was that seriously how the ultimate technique worked? He dodged it without breaking a single sweat while Sybak thought the secret art had secured victory. Exhausted but arrogant, Sybak still thought he won. Both tried to back off, but the enemy totally blocked them. He was literally just analyzing the move. Judging if it deserved to be called a top-tier orthodox faction art, he mocked the Demon Sword name, calling it nothing but basic internal energy shoved into a blade. Then both completely froze. He was casting the Demon Sword technique with only 2 fingers. Absolute shock. If they actually understood the core concept, they would know it didn't even need a sword. Showing off the move again, he admitted the art was decent but needed a much cooler name like Divine Subjugation Technique. This meant Yu Gil-jun, the Black Death Alliance boss, casually hijacked an orthodox art like it was absolutely nothing. Even crazier, his finger version was way stronger than the actual sword. He admitted if the elder brother had not burned his remaining energy, blocking it, they both would be totally dead. Yeon-Myeong finally realized this guy was a true Fire Realm monster. Grabbing his attention, he explained why they had actually come. They desperately needed his backup for the Great Martial Arts Tournament. Let's pause a second. You probably remember the Heavenly Demon cult used to completely terrorize the entire martial world. Despite all the wars, the orthodox side never attacked them directly. Everything flipped when Yun-Yun-Hyuk finally showed up. Born an absolute genius, he gathered a massive following and literally split the cult apart. He took his loyalists and built the Bright Sky Demon cult, leaving the original group ruined. But right now, their biggest headache was the Black Death Alliance down south. If that alliance marched north, they heavily relied on the clan leader's raw power to block them, so they begged him to stall the alliance while they killed the celestial demon. The Tang Clan leader flat-out refused. Hyun Se was totally baffled by the rejection. Getting nowhere, he rushed back to relay the harsh news to Se-bok. Se-bok was absolutely stunned that they got rejected so fast. Leader claimed it was not solely his call to make, promising to ask the clan head and answer later. Panic set in about failing the mission, but waiting was their only option. Hyun Seo then brought up another crazy detail. The Tang Clan was completely different from what they thought. Walking in, they instantly knew the bad rumors were totally fake. Their fighters were total beasts, and the vibe inside was nothing like the ruined clan everyone always gossiped about. So what do you and I take from this? His brother noticed some crazy force revived this clan instantly, and they desperately need that power. And right on cue, Tang Yuri and her father finally arrived. Let us jump right in. The general manager escorted our two guests inside. But here is the wild part: when they finally met the actual clan leader, it was a woman. She introduced herself as Tang Ji-hye. Standing tall, she claimed the title of acting leader for the Sichuan Tang Clan. One pulse of her energy, and they instantly knew. She had reached the legendary Fire Realm tier. No wonder the Tang Clan bounced back so fast. With a powerhouse head and an acting leader sitting at Fire Realm absolutely insane, the guests begged for emergency backup to wipe out an evil faction. They desperately pleaded for her to consider joining their crusade, but her son had already said no. She asked if his stance remained the same. He firmly agreed. Panicking, they demanded to know why he was refusing to crush this so-called evil sect. He calmly replied that the Black Death Alliance never actually bothered regular citizens. Sure, they collected protection money, but they also slaughtered local bandits. Sounds exactly like the so-called good guys, right? Since they were keeping order, he saw zero reason to attack first. Dropped a harsh truth bomb. When the Black Death Alliance destroyed a Tang branch earlier, not a single Orthodox faction bothered to send any help. He completely understood their logic. They protected their own turf first. No hard feelings. But crawling back now to beg for aid against evil, that was pure hypocrisy. A harsh reality check. His words hit so hard neither guest could even look up. They preached about justice, but only cared when their own skins were on the line. The older brother was fuming, basically seeing red. Swallowing his pride, he forced a smile, offered to pay top dollar, and begged her to reconsider the deal. Yeon-Myeong smirked. If they were flashing cash, they could finally negotiate how many troops the Tang Clan would deploy. But first, he demanded their budget. The two guys left the meeting completely traumatized. Now pay attention here. He asked for several years of their total budget. Only an absolute monster of confidence demands that much. The leader's martial arts were clearly top tier, but finding his exact power level was tough. Maybe he rivaled their enemies, maybe he was way stronger. Yeon-Myeong secretly watched them, wondering if they noticed his fully opened meridians. This guy was dangerously smart. Extorting their money was just a tiny piece of the puzzle. His son explained this was a calculated move. The guests acted like holy saviors against the alliance, but he saw right through their fake righteousness. Still, the city had surprisingly stayed peaceful after the major clans collapsed, all thanks to one man, Yu Gil-jun. Honestly, the alliance was only branded evil because they ignored the orthodox rules. But if the balance tipped, they could easily crush rivals, deploy spies, and absolutely annihilate or conquer the neighboring clans. This peace was totally fragile. Without Yu Gil-jun holding the leash, the dark factions would go feral. His mother nodded. This was the perfect chance to rip the problem out. She asked for his master plan. Simple. He would block their northern advance entirely. Instead of fighting them head-on outside, he would infiltrate and cause pure chaos from the inside. Game over. A brilliant strategy, but she was confused about how he would actually get inside. He smiled. They actually sent him an invitation. His mother gasped. A direct invite to a massive gathering in Sichuan. Unlike normal meetings, this was a battle tournament just for young masters of dark factions. You and I both know they are plotting something sketchy here. And when they strike, that is exactly when he wipes them off the map. When Yeon-Jung finally arrived at the Tang Clan, she swore to behave. The entire main family's survival rested completely on her shoulders. She confidently told him to relax. The Tang Clan leader was incredible, and she fully planned on winning his favor. Meanwhile, Ajin chatted with Master Tae-il, who dropped off food and medicine. The two Orthodox guests then called the young guy inside. Aigin casually asked if his internal injuries were finally healing. Lighting up, he bragged about his grandfather's medicine. At first, he was terrified to drink it, considering it was packed with deadly poison and strange herbs. But the second he drank it, his internal wounds healed insanely fast. Healing this quickly, he could head back to his sect soon. He then noticed the loud commotion outside and asked what the heck was happening. They casually guessed it was just because Jegel had finally returned. Shocked both guests. The Tang and Jegal clans were tight, but now they were actually building a massive defensive formation in the outer courtyard. Hyunseo knew they were allies, but building a magical defense array like that cost an absolute fortune. They asked if the Tang clan footed the huge bill. Nope. The Jegal clan was paying for absolutely everything. The clan leader noted that Jegal had been surprisingly cooperative lately. What do you and I make of this? A storm is brewing. As Jegal coaches his niece before meeting the leader, things are about to get crazy. Let's dive into this wild manhwa, starting with a girl convinced no man can resist her. Her uncle totally agreed. She looked exactly like her mom, a legendary beauty back in Hubei. She smirked, confident that wrapping some young guy around her finger would be easy. Jegal suddenly flashed back over 10 years. The Bright Sky Demon Lord had attacked them, targeting his own sister. Her sacrifice saved their family, but the absolute shame of being used for one night pushed her to end her own life. Jegal swore he would never let history repeat itself. If his gorgeous niece could just seduce the Tang clan leader, their bloodline was basically set. The entire family's survival rested completely on her pretty shoulders. Right at the gates, they heard how much the young leader helped during the tournament. But Jegal completely froze the second he laid eyes on the acting clan leader. She was busy setting up massive defensive barriers all around the outer estate. She thanked them gracefully. Staring at her, he realized she shared the exact same noble blood and elegant vibe as the clan leader's late mother. Overwhelming aura had him completely starstruck, his mind totally blanking out for a second. He snapped out of it and apologized, but she just waved it off with a smile since he was away when she stepped up. He told him the long journey must have been exhausting, insisting he go rest up before working, and her attention shifted to the young woman who smoothly introduced herself as his niece, ready to build a tight bond between their clans. Watch closely here. When told to greet the leader, she just completely froze, totally mesmerized by his insanely good looks. Snapping out of her trance, she quickly bowed. She formally introduced herself, apologized for spacing out, and offered huge congratulations to the acting leader. The acting leader thought she was incredibly polite and complimented her absolute beauty. Honestly, she was gorgeous enough to leave a trail of broken hearts in just a few years. The girl bowed, laying on the charm by saying she honestly mistook the acting leader for the young master's older sister instead of his mom. She buttered her up, saying such a warm, lovely mother completely explained why the leader was so amazing. Smiling warmly, the acting leader noticed they were the exact same age and really hoped the two kids would become close friends during her visit. Playing the victim card, the girl agreed, sighing about how her older brother back home never gave her any real affection. She squeezed out one tiny, delicate tear, totally waiting for his reaction. But when she looked up, the guy was literally yawning. Uncle and niece instantly panicked. Her tragic backstory completely failed. She was absolutely baffled. Guys always fell for this trick, but his head was clearly somewhere else entirely. Totally ignored, the duo realized they bombed. For the very first time, this flawless girl felt absolute humiliation because he literally did not care. Annoyed, his mother reached over, sharply pinched his cheek and scolded him to properly greet their guest. I know what you're thinking, she's giving up. Nope, she swore she would conquer him. Meanwhile, over in Black Death Alliance territory, wild rumors about our guy were absolutely exploding. Everyone said he was joining the big gathering. With his crazy recent stunts, the rival factions were definitely going to start trouble. Inside the planning hall, papers were stacked, high-budget details on page 1, and a massive list of attending dark factions on the next. The Demon Lord nodded, approving the solid report. Yaksha Ruin briefed them in a deadpan tone, acting like she was just clocking in. The whole room chuckled. Lately, the boss had been dodging his paperwork way more than a leader should. Suddenly, right mid-meeting, a little girl waltzed in, casually announcing that she was going to the dangerous Sichuan gathering this year. She tackled her uncle, who looked confused, since she usually whined about these boring events being way too annoying. She smugly replied that the famous Tang clan leader was going. Apparently, every single girl in Chengdu was obsessing over him, so she just had to see if he was actually that ridiculously handsome. Her grand plan: if his face matched the insane hype, she was absolutely going to marry him. Her uncle panicked, begging her to shut up before her terrifying dad heard. But honestly, he let her go, mostly because stopping this stubborn girl was an impossible mission anyway. Seriously, who out there was crazy enough to reject the Black Death Alliance leader's own daughter? Meanwhile, Tang Yeon-Myeong softly brushed her sister's gorgeous hair, amazed by her glow-up. It was honestly insane that she used to be bedridden. She playfully teased her about Yeon-Myeong, laughing at how totally obvious his crush was last visit. When asked about her feelings for the clan leader, the sister instantly turned beet red. Tang Yeon-Myeong just burst out laughing at the adorable reaction. Just his name made the poor girl hyperventilate. Still, despite the jokes, the older sister genuinely worried if she was fully healed yet. The blushing sister asked if the young master was heading to the Sichuan gathering, sad that he might be gone for a super long time. With all those deadly dark factions gathering, danger is guaranteed. Trust me, you and I gotta see what happens next. Let's dive right into the drama. Tang Yeon-Myeong joked it'd be terrible if some random girl fell for him. Her sister immediately pouted, muttering how awful that would be. Naturally, Mirio pitched the perfect idea crash, the Sichuan gathering themselves. Her sister panicked, worried the clan leader wouldn't even want them tagging along. But Mirio just grabbed her arm, totally unfazed. She already had a master plan. Meanwhile, back in the leader's office, Jaegel's niece was begging to go as his servant. Word on the street was the dark faction young masters were showing up to compete. Yeon-Myeong was totally fine with it. He was allowed one bodyguard and one servant anyway. Still, he gave her a stern warning this wasn't some relaxing holiday. Suddenly, Tang Mirio kicked the office door open. Yeon-Myeong instantly smiled, bragging that he already sensed someone was coming. Obviously, it was her. He cheerfully asked if she and her sister had some big news to share. Mirio locked her eyes dead onto Yeon-Myeong, who was just chilling right there. Not backing down, she demanded to know who this girl was. Yeon-Myeong fired the exact same question back. Yeon-Myeong caught on while Tang Miso stood there completely confused. Mirio proudly announced they were coming to the gathering with him. Naturally, that caught our guy totally off guard. He asked if she planned to be his bodyguard, making Tang Miso the servant. Mirio called it a flawless plan, desperately trying to ignore the competition standing right there. But Yeon-Myeong was way too sharp for that. These girls were clearly super close to the leader. Plus, she noticed Tang Miso was absolutely gorgeous, honestly almost matching the insane beauty of the leader's own mother. Now pay close attention. Yeon-Myeong knew if a girl like that stayed near him, her entire plan would crumble. Leader said he was pumped. Mirio wanted the bodyguard job, but he sadly couldn't take Tang Miso. That servant spot was already locked down. That pissed Mirio off. She instantly snapped. If her sister was out, then she was out too. Yeon-Myeong would just have to find a total stranger to replace her. Her sister quickly tried to calm the storm, saying she didn't mind staying behind. Looking visibly heartbroken, she gently urged Mirio to go alone. Totally frustrated, Mirio gave in. Fine. Her sister could stay, and if the leader really didn't want her along, they wouldn't force his hand. But then, needing a private chat, she pulled him aside. He chewed him out for being so dense while her sister was listening. The girl clearly wanted to go, so why block her? Especially since he obviously liked her. Mirio basically called him an idiot for throwing away a free pass. But he fired back. This wasn't some vacation. It could turn into a literal battlefield. I know what you're thinking, just protect her. But facing those dark faction elites, he honestly couldn't guarantee keeping her safe from that kind of insane, unpredictable danger. If she got hurt, who takes the fall? Plus, they might literally run straight into the Black Death Alliance leader out there. Since her sister was still healing up and nowhere near full strength, dealing with that level of threat was pure suicide. Hearing his logic, Tang Mirio finally understood why he picked someone else over her sister. Even so, she stubbornly declared she wouldn't go without her. Meanwhile, poor Jaegel was absolutely exhausted from crunching insane amounts of work into a tiny deadline. The young master practically gave him a heart attack, asking why he was just standing there. Panicking Jaegel blurted out that the defensive formation was basically finished, just tweaking the final specs. Yeon-Myeong stepped up to verify if the defensive array matched his exact orders. Sure enough, Jaegel built it perfectly, wrapping the poison hall, cutting through the medical wing straight to general affairs. Gall proudly promised every crucial clan spot was completely covered. He bragged that he nailed the crazy deadline just as commanded. Then he nervously asked if that time frame was actually necessary. Yeon-Myeong just patted his shoulder, casually dropping that he clearly had the skills when he actually tried. Now he just had to finish the remaining tasks. Poor Jaegel just stood there thinking a basic thank you would have been nice. Honestly, Yeon-Myeong just needed the clan totally safe from ambushes while he was out of town. With the defenses locked down, he tackled his last chore. He called over an elder who was standing right in front of Elder Tang Yeon-Myeong. He brought up the elder's famous sword skills, the whole reason he got the job. He admitted that back then, even drawing his blade seemed totally out of reach. Sounding frustrated, he acknowledged the massive power gap. Right now, his sword skills were barely scraping the bottom, so he straight up asked for some hardcore sword lessons. And hey, he wasn't expecting freebies at all. The trade, absolute loyalty from here on out. He cockily added that golden tickets like this were super rare, so the guy should feel incredibly lucky and switch teams right now. Meanwhile, Hyun-Seo and his brother were finally packing up, saying their goodbyes and bowing for the hospitality. He offered massive thanks to the Tang clan for backing them up formally, showing deep respect from the whole Kongtong sect. Sebek's wounds were totally healed. You and I gotta see what's next. Stick with me here. The acting leader steps up thanking him and promising backup from their absolute best warriors. Bak is thrilled. He promises a massive payout the second he hits his sect. The leader just hopes they actually survive. She turns to the clan leader, extremely grateful. Without his help, both master and disciple would be completely dead. She admits his fighting skills are just unreal for his age. Honestly, he might even blow past her level soon. Touching his hand, she instantly senses an absolute monster hiding inside him. Hyun-Seo catches her weird reaction, immediately asking his older brother why he looks so freaked out. Turning pale, he drops a quick goodbye, rushing back to their sect. He honestly can't tell. Is he just imagining things, Or is the clan leader actually leaking out this terrifying, overwhelming aura? The Tang clan's explosive rise isn't just from the leader. It is also thanks to the youngest young master. Their clan motto is brutal, repay kindness twice and evil 10 times over. The leader declares that since they stepped in, everyone's fate is now on the line. They lock in, agreeing to go all out. Everyone wishes them massive luck for the bloody battle ahead. Cut to Ajin handing Yeon-Myeong a poison case now totally packed with rare elixir. He asks why he always picks this exact same poison. Yeon-Myeong smirks. It is what he knows best, and honestly nothing fits him quite like his own signature poison. Reminding him everyone is waiting, he drops a heavy unspoken truth anyway. Just come back alive. Watch closely here. His spiritual guardian suddenly drops the heavy question, is he actually as young as he claims? Yeon-Myeong gets why. It is no joke. He has already crushed seasoned martial artists who have spent actual decades grinding in the harsh martial world. That sword art he used to absolutely wreck the elder, way beyond the level of any sword masters the Guardian saw with those invisible guests. Yeon-Myeong just casually shoots back. If a total freak like the Black Death Alliance leader exists, then someone like him definitely can too. Basically, he tells the spirit to drop the useless curiosity. He wasn't even a dragon. Preparing to leave, Mirio suddenly calls out, asking where Yeon-Myeong disappeared to. He quickly explains he grabbed some poison off Ejin. Mirio squints, asking who the heck is standing right next to him. He introduces Jang Gil. This guy is their guide to Chengdu, making sure the trip goes off without a hitch. The young master totally trusts him. Then he gives his mother a final goodbye, telling her he is already hitting the road. After giving final farewells, they prepare to leave. The interim leader just tells them not to be so formal. She tells her son that wherever he walks, the wind will always follow. She fully supports him but warmly warns him not to overdo things. After all, he is the proud son of the poisonous phoenix. She fully believes he will crush it. Praying for their safe return, she asks them to guard the clan leader with their lives, finally sending them off in peace. You and I know things are about to get wild. Sichuan is absolutely packed for the gathering, feeling like a massive festival. Even Mirio is stunned by the change. She visited back when her dad ran the big merchant company. Yeon-Myeong nods, saying he had definitely heard about that. If the clan keeps expanding, they will absolutely need a merchant company for a steady stream of income. They can't just rely on the elder's hidden funds and the medical wing forever. He tells her straight up, once this chaos ends, talk to her dad. He fully plans to help them jumpstart the old business. Meanwhile, over at the local sword forge, the owner is literally snoozing because business is absolutely dead today. Annoyed, he groans that business is dead again, just praying some paying customer finally walks in today. Suddenly, a voice calls out. No hammering going on. Is the shop even open? Yeon-Myeong struts right in, casually asking to check out their swords. The grumpy owner lights up instantly. Noting the kid looks vaguely familiar, he happily jumps up to show off his top-tier stash. Inspecting the gear, Yeon-Myeong realizes these are seriously well crafted. The blades are flawless, and that razor sharpness really catches the eye. The guy's pride is totally justified. Excellent work. Slightly plain looking, but that cutting edge is absolutely outstanding. The blacksmith is simply amazed that Yeon-Myeong figured all that out just by handling them briefly. Yeon-Myeong calls every sword high quality, ready to pick the best fit. Excited, the owner tells him to wait and hurries off. He returns holding a special box, proudly asking Yeon-Myeong to crack it open. Lifting the lid, Yeon-Myeong instantly recognizes an absolute masterpiece. This is the legendary Demon Slayer sword, and man, it completely lives up to the insane hype. Even without deep sword knowledge, Yeon-Myeong can instantly feel just how absolutely incredible this weapon is. The blacksmith explains his late master actually started forging it before getting sick. Stepping up, he took the hammer and finished the epic blade himself. Proudly, he asks for Yeon-Myeong's thoughts, confidently calling it fully worthy of the masterpiece title. So what do you and I make of this? Yeon-Myeong feels it rivals his past life's blade. A razor-sharp aura is just exploding off it. Let's dive in. Because trust me, he really didn't need a sword like that. Instead, he tells the blacksmith to be proud of his epic creation, but a flashy blade just attracts unwanted heat. A simpler sword is a better fit, so he sticks with his original choice. The blacksmith looks pretty bummed, but accepts the deal. Right as they finish up, a loud group of thugs barges in, demanding to know what is happening. The terrified smith calls their leader young Master Yun. This brat starts complaining about ordering the best sword, loudly accusing the poor guy of totally scamming him. He screams, asking how a lowly blacksmith dares to mock his absolute greatness. The smith panics, explaining it is just a big misunderstanding. But watching this, Yeon-Myeong senses trouble. These guys look like elite guards. His spirit agrees. That is pure demonic energy. He felt this exact evil vibe before with that invisible guest. But why are demon sect dogs roaming around Sichuan? The arrogant master barks at Yeon-Myeong to move aside so he can punish the smith. He warns that he is next if he stays. Yeon-Myeong simply answers with a two-finger strike, calling him a loud-mouthed fool. That single casual tap absolutely rattles the bully. Obviously, his bodyguards hate seeing their precious master treated like garbage. Yeon-Myeong coldly adds that trash at his low level could never handle a great sword anyway. Now watch closely. A guard screams, asking how he dares touch Namjoong's grandson, the young lord of the Black Death Alliance. But the Tang Clan leader seriously could not care less about fancy titles. He cuts to the chase, demanding their connection to the demon sect. He just stands there totally relaxed. Completely offended, they demand to know why he slanders their sect. They tell their young master to step back. These arrogant goons really think they can handle this. After effortlessly trashing the bodyguards, he announces that the Celestial Moon Brigade is officially taking charge of young Master Yoon. He orders his crew to finish the rest. The shocked enemy admits their cover was basically perfect. How did he notice them? Simple. The horrible stink of demon sect trash gave them away from miles off. He asks the trembling young master if watching his elite guards drop still does not scream absolute danger. He casually tells him to worry about his actual skills, instead of just stuffing his pockets full. To him, these fallen fools are totally identical. Their boss orders them to protect Yoon while he teaches this punk a lesson. They drag the screaming master away. Yeon-Myeong realizes that despite acting tough, this loud brat has zero clue who they really are. Thinking never crossed their minds. They only knew pure fear. When they attack, he just glides past and instantly shatters their swords. The stunned guards actually thought they were faster than him. One idiot thinks he won and charges in. Instead, he just drops unconscious to the dirt. The rest can only stare blankly. You saw that too, right? The girls are terrified, hiding it. That challenger is basically in tears. Everyone stares at the wild scene. One guy holding a legendary sword, the other kneeling helplessly. Swinging the weapon, Yeon-Myeong realizes it really is a total masterpiece. The balance between hilt and blade is just absolutely flawless. This poor blacksmith did the work of a true master. Yeon-Myeong praises the dead master for designing it, adding that the disciple who finished the job is super impressive too. Every craftsman wants their weapon in the right hands. He firmly believes this epic sword will eventually find its true destined master. The old master's final wish was clear. Only give the blade to someone who understands its worth. Thrilled, the smith believes he found the true owner of the Demon Slayer sword. Gripping it, Yeon-Myeong glares at the survivors. He asks who wants to step up next. They all rush him together, making him smirk. This is exactly what he wanted, target practice. Honestly, the girls are way too exhausted to be shocked by his crazy stunts anymore. They have no idea when he even learned swordsmanship, muttering that things are going way too smoothly right now. He figures those Black Death Alliance clowns have absolutely zero clue he leads the Divine Celestial Demon Sect. He strongly believes Yo So-chung's kid has the raw talent to carry the Yun clan legacy. If he makes the boy flex his skills at the gathering, it shatters their power. Before anyone even notices, the demonic path will already completely control Sichuan. Suddenly, his badly wounded subordinates come rushing in, shouting loudly. Things get weird when a brigade member brings So-chung in, loudly reporting that young Master Yun is getting jumped by a massive group. Meanwhile, at the forge, Yeon-Myeong is casually finishing off the last guys, nearly clearing the room. Where do we go from here? Mirio asks how he can be so calm when one guy obviously just ran off to get heavily armed reinforcements. Alright, stick with me here. He totally let that guy escape on purpose. That fool had zero clue about the demon sect's actual plans. He wasn't really from the demon cult. Just a clueless pawn mixed up with bad people. Yeon-Myeong casually rested his blade against the guy's neck. They'd get answers soon enough. Once the backup arrived, he would just ask them directly. Right on, cue. Loud shouts echoed, telling them to back off. The kid's angry father showed up with heavy backup, screaming to release his son immediately. He flat out threatened them. Fight back, and they'd be chopped up and fed to the pigs. Then another guy stepped up. Holding his weapon at their throats, he mocked them, asking what they honestly thought they could achieve. The girls were completely lost on who the actual bad guys were. Way too many enemies, and Yeon-Myeong's plan was still a total mystery. Hyun Sung-nam started screaming that he had no idea who he was messing with. Yeon-Myeong stayed cool. These guys were definitely demon cult. He could sense their dark aura. Even in hiding, they obviously came to Sichuan to cause absolute chaos. Whether the Black Death Alliance knew it or not, he instantly spotted that nasty, hidden demonic energy. Plus, walking away completely unharmed after the Celestial Moon Brigade attacked him, that was all the proof he needed. Panicking at his massive threat level, the man tried to silence him immediately. In the Yun clan's name, he ordered the Celestial Moon Brigade to activate the reverse blood demon technique. Myeong froze in terror. Now, pay close attention to this. It's the same brutal technique the Bright Heaven Demon Lord used against the Tang Clan. Instantly, they mutated, growing insanely strong. That single detail proved the Yun clan was secretly working with Yun Jong-hyuk. Hyun Sung-nam just laughed, asking if he was done yapping and ready to die. Yeon-Myeong replied calmly that he had zero personal grudge here. Still, his entire clan was wiped out by them. Hearing this, Hyun Sung-nam laughed, bragging that his brother had crushed countless pathetic clans. He aggressively demanded to know Yeon-Myeong's background just so he could butcher his entire family too. Zhuge's niece was shaking, completely certain they were dead meat. But despite the fear, she fully trusted the young master. The kill order dropped on the Celestial Moon Brigade. Seeing the enemy swarm and his spiritual guardian nervously asked what the big game plan was. Yeon-Myeong got annoyed by the question. His game plan was simple. Slice every single one down. He gripped his sword and unleashed hell, painting the ground red. Hyun-Sung-nam seriously thought jumping one guy would be an easy win. The blacksmith watched in pure horror. He had never witnessed such insane power. The girls, they just felt massive relief trusting their overpowered leader. The enemy was totally stunned. 70 warriors using the reverse blood demon technique were actually losing. Let's pause for a second. This whole scene sparked a cult memory when the Celestial Demon Cult's guardians got injured after the vice leader ceremony. That day, Yoon Jong-hyuk was officially declared the absolute winner. This intense pressure felt exactly like his brother's insane martial trial, totally eclipsing both the left and right guardians. He hadn't felt pressure like that since then. Now this random guy radiated the exact same monstrous energy. Realizing he was totally outmatched, he slammed his knees into the dirt, begging for his life. He pleaded to at least spare little Sochung. He offered his own head instead of the kid's. He cried that whatever beef Yeon-Myeong had with the Celestial Demon Cult, that innocent child was totally different. He kept sobbing for mercy, but Yeon-Myeong wasn't buying this pathetic act. He coldly asked if the Celestial Demon Cult normally murders a random blacksmith just because they didn't like a sword. The innocent-looking kid opened his mouth to speak, and instantly his head went flying. Yeon-Myeong told the horrified father he completely understood his rage. Every single family they had ruined felt that exact same crushing pain. He had zero intention of sparing anyone connected to the Celestial Demon Cult. He told the guy to shut his mouth and go straight to hell. Next, Yeon-Myeong turned to the blacksmith asking if the sword was really his. The old man admitted he'd be dead meat without him. He offered it as a grand thank you for saving his life. His master's final wish was granted. The epic blade found its rightful owner. Myeong nudged the clan leader, wondering why he was hesitating to claim his weapon. Yeon-Myeong smiled, saying if they really insisted he would gladly take it, but honestly the weapon was way too flashy. He requested a super basic sheath to keep things low-key. His spiritual guardian was totally amazed every time he saw him. Anyone could call him a true swordmaster and absolutely mean it. He knew deep down once this kid reached full power he'd mutate into a monster way scarier than Yoon Jong-hyuk. So what do you and I take from this absolute madness? Like, subscribe, and see you next time.